Hi y'all, good morning. We are a few minutes before sunrise here on the Tennessee River, and it looks like it is going to be a beautiful morning. Check out that skyline over there. Man, when that sun comes up, we're in for an awesome sight, and hopefully we're in for some awesome catfish today, because that's what we're going after. Hopefully some blues, maybe some flatheads. Keep your fingers crossed on those, but we're going to take a big stretch of this ledge today. I'm going to keep us trolling today about a half a mile an hour, and we're just going to go, man. We're going to cover couple miles out here this morning of this ledge and see what we run into. So I've already got us some baits cut here. I'm gonna put this camera here in the chest. We're gonna get baited up and get these things out and get after it. I'm gonna start with some skipjack. We've got skipjack and white bass to use today, and we don't have many skipjacks. So I'm gonna go ahead and put one on here first thing right here at sunrise, and then we'll switch over to white bass next. But this one here, that's a skipjack head. I've got this one on a dragging rig. We're going to be using a couple different techniques as we make our way along today. But I've got my dragging sinker up there. You can see I make those myself. There's a link down in the video description if you want to learn how. That's on a three-way down to a 80-pound monofilament leader that's about, I don't know, 3.5, 4 foot long, give or take. You got a float and rattle right above the hook. Then you've got your bait there on a 10-aught size circle hook, and about a foot behind that bait there, and I know it's low light, you may not be able to see very well, but we've got a Catfish Sumo bait stalker fly. And that's going to, as we drag along with this cut bait, that fly is going to be back there kind of just swimming along behind it. So I'm going to get that one started. We're going to have that one going off the back of the kayak. We'll just start letting that line on it while we get baited on our others here. Now this rig here is the exact same setup, with the one exception being the bait. And we're going to use a chunk of skipjack on this one instead of the head. Now you might notice that chunk kind of small. I've cut the gut pocket out of there, make it a little bit smaller profile. I fished yesterday for catfish and got some fish, but my larger baits weren't getting hit as much. It seemed like the fish were having a preference for the smaller baits. Why that was, I don't know, but I thought today we'll start out with a head, which is a larger bait, and we'll do a couple chunks with the gut pocket out just to give a smaller profile and see what happens. And we can adjust our baits accordingly today as the fish tell us what their preference is today, what it is they want. And I'm gonna actually, before we drop this one down, I'm gonna cut this fin here, get that out of our way. Now this one here, going to be on a suspend fishing rig. We're going to suspend one rod off the front while we drag a couple off the back. And so if you haven't been to my channel before, this is my favorite suspend fishing rig. It's an 8-ounce egg sinker down to just a regular swivel, 80-pound monofilament leader again, just a shorter length to the 10-aught size circle hook, and then the Catfish Sumo bait stalker fly a few inches below that. And this one here, we're going to drop down straight down under us vertically, and I'm going to let that sinker hit bottom and then raise this rig up a couple feet off the bottom, which right now we're 46 feet here where we're at. And I think our depth today is going to be fairly consistent. I think today we're going to be kind of in that mid 40s to low 50s in depth range as we make our way up this ledge. And I'll kind of take the graph here and show you a little bit more here in a minute. First things first though, let me flip our bell over on that back rod, and I'm gonna let out just a little bit more line on that one. But right here, man, that's magical, folks. Some of you, I know, sleep in the mornings, maybe you work late at night, you don't get up in the mornings in time to see it. Maybe you don't get many early morning fishing trips for whatever reason. That right there, man, every time I see it, just amazing. We've kind of had a break in the humidity right now. Mother Nature showed us a little bit of a reprieve, and so it's just making the colors in the sky so much brighter right now. It's amazing, man. When that sun pops up, we're in for a heck of a sight, and hopefully, I hope we're reeling in some fish as it happens. That would be awesome. Been on a pretty good bite lately. We're post-spawn right now, and so the big catfish, a lot of them are out. They're on the main channel ledges. They're actively feeding. You put a bait in front of them, good chance you're going to get a reaction out of them. So we're going to be covering this ledge, and what we're trying to do today is run into some fish. The summer bite here, this post-spawn bite, you get these fish out on these ledges, and they're roaming, man. They're up and down. They're on the move. They're not really hanging out in any one place. So if you cover a lot of water, you got a good chance of running into them. And so we've got this suspended rod off the front, and I'll be quite honest with you, I don't have high expectations for it. I've got it out basically because that's our best chance of getting a flathead today. Even though I caught one recently dragging, our best chance is getting one on that suspend rig. But otherwise, the suspended bait just hasn't been getting it done lately. The fish have showed a clear preference recently for the dragging rigs, and I think that's probably just because when we're pulling them dragging sinkers along, you're kicking up a lot, and you're making a disturbance down there in the water. You're creating sound. You're kicking up some mud like a carp or a sucker feeding. And then in addition to that, of course, we got our cut bait on there, which is creating a scent trail, a blood trail there as we move along. Because a day like today, we're out here first thing in the morning, TVA's not generating. They're not moving any water. So we've basically, even though this is the Tennessee River, quote unquote, we're dependent upon TVA generating flow there at the hydroelectric dams to have any current. Otherwise, you've just got lake-like conditions with no flow. So in order for fish to find your bait, they've got to be within a pretty close proximity to it to pick up on the scent. And by dragging and trolling like we're doing, we are creating a scent trail as we move along. So if fish are in the area, or if they happen to go by behind us after we've gone through, there's our trail. And if they're real active, they'll come get it. Because we're not moving very quickly. You know, we're moving half a mile an hour right now as we go along, and that's probably where we'll keep it today. We may have to play around with speeds a little bit depending on if the wind kicks up. We might have to go a little quicker or something, or if maybe we're seeing fish but they're just not biting, maybe we slow down, maybe we speed up. You know, we'll tinker with it just to try to figure out, try to dial it in what it is they want. But half a mile an hour usually is a good starting pace, and you can usually pick off some fish doing that. And I've been getting some pretty good quality fish lately. Now that the post-spawn bite has started, it's been pretty good. Now, I touched on this here recently. It took a while to get it started. Like, it's been a hard time this year. It started a little bit later, kind of threw me off my game a little bit, but now that we've got it going, it's been the last few trips out, I've gotten several fish, and I've gotten some better quality fish. Yesterday's session wasn't as good as some of the others, but I did end up getting some fun sizers and several bites. So we're trying a different stretch of the river here this morning, and just kind of following the same pattern of this ledge bite. We've got this ledge here that we're going on, 46 feet here where we're at, and over here beside us on the left, there's a drop off. You go up there, this drop goes up, or the ledge goes up, excuse me, to a deeper flat that is mid-20s in depth, and then it goes over there to the shoreline. So what we're doing is we're working off this ledge here so that hopefully fish, maybe they've went up there on that flat. We're already hooked up right here. Let me get the camera back in the chest, y'all. Let's reel this one in. Boy, we're just a few minutes in and already hooked up. That is a good sign. This was on the small chunk of skipjack that we're dragging. This video, by the way, we're unedited today, raw and uncut. Y'all, my fishing partners out here till the camera battery dies. So probably about 3-4 hours, or give or take, somewhere in between. which is probably how long I'm gonna fish today. I'm gonna do a morning session out here. But yeah, man, we're a few minutes in already, busting one right here. That's a good sign. I like it, folks. I like it. I like getting bit quick. It gives me a little hope and optimism that maybe I know what I'm talking about and I'm doing something right. Sometimes you go out and you don't catch fish. It makes you question yourself a little bit. Maybe you ain't as smart as what you think you are. I need to turn you around this way though, by gosh, this fish needs to come on. Look at this sunrise. Y'all miss it over here. Let me try to angle you better so you can watch a beautiful sunrise peek up over them trees. This fish trying to distract us from it. Come on, fish. I want to watch this thing come up. Hell, I don't know how many more sunrises I got left in me. None of us do. You gotta take advantage of every one. Especially on a day like today where we've got low humidity and just beautiful colors. I want you to look at this fish. Hold on, take your eyes off the sun a second. He's tail hooked, that's why he felt bigger. He's got himself hooked in the tail with that daggone fly, and he's knocked our bait off. Fish, did you not hear me talking earlier and I said we got limited skipjack today? This fish, he ain't very bright, folks. He ain't very bright. Let me get hold of this thing. I ain't bringing you in the kayak fish. If you ain't smart enough to get hooked in the mouth, you ain't coming in here and getting no camera time. You gotta have some sense. I can't get a hold of that dang hook. There it is. There. That don't count, folks. That sunrise does though. Look at that. My camera mount's in the way. Boy, that's a beautiful sight, ain't it? Soak that in a minute, folks. I love it. You just gotta take a moment to appreciate those. Y'all, you never know when this sunrise may be the last one. You know what I mean? Hold on, bear with me. I'm trying to get another bait out of here. There, that's a good size one. Let's put a piece of white bass on. Look at that, man. By the time I get this bait cut and raised back up, that sun's gonna be over the trees. We're gonna have lost the most beautiful part of it. But we gotta get another bait back on. Got to get another bait back on and hope we got another sunrise or two left in us, folks. You think we do? I hope we do. If all goes according to plan, I'd like to live another 35, 40 years. Hard to believe I'm middle-aged though, ain't it? If I do only live another 35, 40 years, that means, hell, I'm past middle age. I'm not gonna cut this piece of white bass here. I'm gonna leave that gut pocket in, even though there ain't no guts in there. We'll just see what they want today. That fish hit so quick, gives me a little hope and optimism. Maybe they're gonna be aggressive today. Yesterday was kind of an odd deal. I really went out yesterday thinking the bite was gonna be on, and it took a while. To get it going for us. Got me questioning things. But yeah, folks, we're going unedited today, raw and uncut. It's my favorite way to go because it gives you all hopefully gives y'all a fishing buddy, man. For those of you that just don't get out as often as you would like or can't get out as often as you would like for whatever reason. Maybe it's work, maybe it's health, maybe it's other commitments. You know, it's just hopefully these videos will provide you with an opportunity to experience real fishing. And that's what this is. This is about as real as it gets here, because y'all seeing everything from when I'm getting on the water here to when I roll out today. Unless we're just on a really good bite and maybe I decide to stay a little while longer after the battery dies, that's possible. I did that yesterday. I fished to that bridge yesterday and didn't catch any more fish after the battery died. Y'all didn't miss nothing for those of you come along on that trip, but that's what we're doing today. And we're gonna just take a big stretch of this. This ledge, I mean, it's just, again, fish could be anywhere up and down through here. So the more water you cover, better opportunity you have. And fish, I was trying to say, I think before that interrupted, they get up on these flats and feed. There's all kinds of bait up there, but if you look on the screen, if you notice here, I mean, hell, there's all kinds of bait right here where we're at here off this ledge from about 20 foot deep all the way down toward the bottom here. But here you can kind of see, here we are, and I'm trying to get us back over here to the left. I got us a little off course. This is where this ledge drops off, and then up here is this flat, mid-20s in depth. We want to work that bottom edge right there. That's kind of going to be our goal today, to kind of try to stay as close as we can to that break line. We'll go ahead and flip that bail. We'll have that rod on the left side running a little bit farther behind us, and that one a little shorter. And let's see what they'll do for us. So now we've got a skipjack chunk suspended, a white bass chunk over here on the right dragging, and a skipjack head dragging. We got one more skipjack in my bag, and then we've got white bass, and we got plenty of white bass today. So we're not gonna run low on bait. Depending on how much bait we have left when we finish up today, that will determine what I do tomorrow. I'm planning on fishing tomorrow, but if we don't have much bait left, then I'll be making a bait run. If we have an adequate amount, what is this right here? What is this? I'm gonna stand up. Do you see that? It's still over there. Oh, there was a shad jump right there. Something's getting chased. Shad's getting chased. He's right there on the surface, but he ain't breaking the surface. I can see the water ripples. What do you think that is? It seems like a fairly large fish, don't it? I'm gonna try to get us over there a little closer to it. I want to see what that thing is. Investigative reporter Justin Johnston on the case here. Like a daggone news reporter here. Eye in the sky. I don't know what the hell that is. He seems to be gone now, though. Oh, nope, no, he's back over there. Y'all holler at that fish, tell him to just jump up high enough so we can see what's going on. We're about to pass him up. He needs to swim up this way. You see some carp and buffalo on the surface. They'll be out here in the middle of the damn channel first thing in the morning sometimes, jumping up, but I don't think they'd be out here actively chasing shad like that one appeared to be. So I don't know what that was. Could have been a cat, could have been some form of bass. He seems to be, he's still back there. He's coming up occasionally, but he ain't breaking the surface for us to see. This is my first disappointment of the day. I don't like being disappointed, but that fish right there has disappointed me. All right, let's turn back around this way, watch the rest of the sunrise. But yeah, depending on how things go today, that will determine what I do tomorrow. I'll either be making the bait run, or if we got enough bait left over, I may use what's left to go catfishing. Now that bait would be 3 days old at that point, which is about as old as I want bait to be, at least the bait that we're using. We'll go through our skipjack today, so it would be white bass that we had left. I don't really like using white bass that's older than 3 days. It just don't. I like my bait to be as fresh as possible. So I may end up just making a bait run tomorrow anyway and getting back after the cats again after that. We'll see. We'll just see how today goes. But good news is, even though we tail hooked that first fish, he had to at least make a swipe at the bait to get himself tail hooked. You know, I mean, he was at least going after our bait and our rig there to accidentally hook himself. Look up here. We might see another action today. Look at that, an osprey flying around. We got another professional fisherman out here with us. Look at this. I thought it was about to go down. Something was after our head bait. We're getting a little attention here, folks. We're getting attention. First thing, I like what I'm seeing here. When you seeing all that bait fish down there near the bottom, again, it's pretty thick here. I mean, we're seeing it up here at the 20-foot mark, and we're seeing it all the way down. But when you've got bait down there near the bottom, you can pretty much guarantee there's going to be some fish working around in that too. Some catfish or probably some bass too, you know, predator fish that's going to be in and around that stuff. So we're going to pull through it and offer them an easier option than what they're going to be getting by trying to catch them live fish down there. Because when they're all schooled up like that, I mean, they're hard for them fish to catch. When they're all tightened up like that, like the fish have to go in, bust them schools up, and try to isolate individual bait fish to be able to more easily pick them off. And so what we're offering here is apparently a snag's what we're offering. Let's see if we can get this thing. I don't want to be getting snagged here first thing now. Oh man, that one don't feel like it's coming out either. It ain't coming out, folks. We're gonna have to go back and get that one. Dadgummit, man. This happened yesterday too. I had one snag yesterday. Is that? Look at that. Something's after that daggone thing. Did I just? I'm still snagged, but I swear I think something was after it. You saw that line popping, didn't you? Something was tugging on me there, but it is snagged. Yeah, this happened yesterday too. I had one snag that I had to go back for all daggone morning, and it happened first thing. This is the second disappointment of the day. The first one was that fish that wouldn't let me see what it was. Now we're snagged, so we're having some disappointments. First thing, but we're getting them out of the way early. Having some weeds too. We got to do something with all these weeds. All right. I like going back for my, you know, when this setup here that I'm doing, the dragging with 2 rods, when you get hung up, you get snagged to the point that you have to go back for something. It's not a big deal to reel up your one other dragging line. And I've talked about this before, like if you're pulling planer boards, you can't go back for nothing. It's just too time consuming with all your other rods and of course the planer boards and all that take a lot of time to set out. Like you just can't, you have to break off. I personally hate breaking off. It's such a nuisance to do that because you lose your whole setup, you lose money. That's the obvious thing right there, because I mean, your hook probably about $1 a piece depending on what kind you use. You're going to lose your float and rattle. You're going to lose whatever sinker you got on there. My sinker's pretty cheap for dragging sinker purposes. You know, I make them myself, so I save money I think we might actually lose this whole rig. I wonder what the hell I'm hung up in down there. I'm gonna shine the live scope over here, folks. I wanna see what I'm hung up in. If we can see what we hung up in. This is unusual. Most of the time I get my rigs back. When you lose a rig, it's usually not your sinker, it's your hook that's hung up in something. And so I'm wondering what exactly it is I'm hung up in, because I don't see it. I'm curious about this. Give me a second here, okay? I want to see. I want to just see what the hell it is I'm hung up in. I don't see it on the screen. I mean, I've got that live scope pointing right at it. I don't see it. Let me check one thing with this damn transducer. Yeah, it looks good. Sometimes I'm going down the road, down the highway, I'm bouncing that transducer around in the kayak. Okay, I see, okay. Right here, I don't know if you can see where my finger's pointing, right there, I can see there's a fish actually coming up to these things. You see that thing? Wonder if he'd hit that. Wonder if he'd hit it and knock it free for me. He was swimming around right there as I was bouncing this thing. I don't think I'm gonna get this back, folks. This is incredibly frustrating. Incredibly frustrating. I don't know what the hell I'm hung on. Because I don't really see, I mean, there's something there, but I don't know what it is. Dadgummit. Well, here I was talking about trying to be efficient and whatnot, going back and getting your rigs and not breaking off, and here we go with it. Those of you that fish with me regularly, you know this is kind of a rare thing that I have to break off. I usually am able to get them back. That's why I like going back for them, because it's, again, this is $3 or $4. Every time you break off, hell, it's $3 or $4. Not to mention just the litter, the debris. And here's the really bad part about this. That was our skipjack head. Well, that's a valuable bait right now. I'm gonna just move this motor along here and I've got this line wrapped around my knife. I'm trying to break this daggone thing. It's a 40-pound line. It ain't the easiest line to break. There it comes. Well, folks, hell of a start we're off to. Hell of a start. Y'all apparently didn't bring your lucky rabbit's foot with you today. Daggone, man. Daggone. Okay. Well, let's get ourselves back on the move. We'll let out our other lines, and I'll tie us on another rig. I keep them pre-tied. I keep them ready to go just for this reason, but boy, I hate to be doing it this early. I hate to do it ever, let alone this early into a trip. But again, folks, when I take y'all with me, y'all seeing it all, man. This is unedited. So when bad stuff happens, when crazy shenanigans happens, it's just, y'all see it, you all see everything, including this weed here that's on our rig. How the hell we got that on there? I don't know. Must have just worked its way down our line from the surface there. Let's get that and going back out. Get our suspend rig going back down. I gotta move us over a little bit to the right. Get us off that ledge a little more. Yeah, we'll tie on another one and get back to it. You know what I hate more than anything is losing that daggone skipjack head. We needed that thing. We ain't got one left. Let's get in our hatch here. Ooh, we've got hit. We've got hit right there. I saw my line just take off. Thanks. We're letting that line on that, and I saw you see it, my line just started shooting off there. All right, just like that. You know, that's interesting. That bait would have just been sitting there. We were moving, but my bait wouldn't have been. It would have just been sitting there. That may be a sign. Well, we'll see. We'll see. It could have been a sign maybe you're just right place, right time, or it could be a sign that maybe they want our bait sitting still today. Hey, fish, why don't you do me a solid and leave that bait on there? Don't throw it off. This fish, he just wanted to brighten my moods, what he wanted to do. He said, Justin, I know you've lost a rig very early on in the trip, and he said he knew if he would bite, and not only bite, but leave my bait on, that it would improve my mood and just, he would, boy, his hook, let me get that hook out of you, fish, before you go flopping, because it's in a spot that I don't want to end up wearing. Goodness. He got it through the bottom lip sideways. Okay, there you go, fish. It's just a dinkity-doo-dah. But hey, at least he got it in the mouth compared to the last dinkity-doo-dah. You want to try that again? You think we can actually get the thing set next time before the fish takes off? Yeah, that's pretty exciting. I just tried to get us a rig out, and I see that line just start shooting off. Lord, getting choked up on my own slobber. I'm gonna rehook it. There we go. All right, let's try that again. Down it goes. Now let's pull us out another rig here. Now this next rig I pull out will not have a fly on it. I had just tied 2 new rigs with flies before yesterday's trip, and well, we've lost one now, so I guess we'll do a rig without the fly. And I got yesterday, this is another thing that prompted me yesterday to switch over to these smaller cuts of bait, was my fly rig caught 3 fish. And them flies, I mean, that's the smallest part, the smallest bait, if you will. You know, we had a piece of cut bait, and we had that fly trailing behind. And I got 3 fish on that fly, and I was like, you know, that's the old saying, once is an accident, twice is a pattern. And we had 3 fish on there eating the smaller bait, and I was like, let me just switch over and put some smaller baits on, and then, you know what, you cover a little bit more water, and boom, we started getting better quality fish. And so I got a lot of confidence in larger baits like this time of year, because I mean, it's again post-spawn, so you're getting fish that are hungry and aggressive and ready to eat, but every day's a little different, and you have to just listen to the fish and just let them tell you what they want. You can't just, you can assume whatever you want to assume, but the fish want what they want. And so if they want a smaller bait on a particular day, or a particular cut, or a particular size, or type, or whatever, you better be willing to give it to them, or just accept not getting the amount of fish or size or quality that you want. Well, this is our last skipjack head here, folks. It's a thing of beauty. My favorite bait in the world. Let's see if we can make it count. I got a lot of confidence in that white bass though too, especially this time of year, so won't be a huge deal to go to the white bass, but I'd rather at least first thing this morning, in case we got a morning bite going on, I'd like to have that skipjack on there. All right, I'm gonna get this out. Again, that rig there, same exact setup that I showed you there first thing. The only exception being this one don't have a fly on it. No fly. Okay, now I was pushing us off to the right. Now I've got us too far that way, so we gotta go back to the left. We'll get it dialed in here directly. That fish, I had us going the way we needed to, and that snag, excuse me, getting us caught up there, threw us off. I don't know what the hell we was hung up in. I couldn't really get a look at what it was. It must have, I don't know. Whatever it was, though, it wasn't giving it back. It had our hooks, at least one of our hooks. A sinker, I think we could have worked free. I have had, on this section of the river, I've had problems with trot line, not on this side. I'll be honest with you, I don't know. I'm trying to think of a time. I don't know that I've actually ever fished this section of the ledge that we're going to fish today. I've fished this section of the river. Let me flip our bail over on this other rod. Definitely, I've fished this section of river a lot through the years. And I've had problems with trot lines over here on the other side where I've pulled through and gotten snagged in people's trot lines. I don't think that was a trot line. We would have seen it if it was a trot line. But I don't know, honestly, I don't know that I have ever, if I have, I don't recall that we've ever hit this side of the channel that we're going up through today. I've fished this side of the channel below here, but I don't know that I've ever, where we're going to end up today, I don't know that I've ever fished. So this is kind of, I won't say it's new water because again, I fished this section of the river before, but this side of the ledge, there's so many options right now, and I feel like we're going to get bit everywhere, you know, just the time of year and the type of place. I'm just like, well, let me just come out here and see what's going on. And I definitely don't want us getting hung in trot lines, so I didn't really want to try that other side over there in case there are some over there right now. But I'm going to kick us back here. I'm going to relax a little bit. Y'all better get your shades on. It got bright quick when that sun got up. It's going to get hot quick today too. It's a drier heat, but it's still hot. I think it's supposed to be like 88 degrees for the high today, so it's, when you get that hot, it don't matter. I mean, humidity certainly makes it worse, but hot's hot. So I'm gonna get my fishing done early today. Try to catch us a few here first thing and take it to the house after that. I'm gonna, yeah, on these trips like this, you know, we got time to kill oftentimes between bites, and we got to talk about something. And since y'all won't help me carry this conversation, I got to tell you my thoughts and philosophies on life and the life and times. And so, fortunately for you, I've got some stories to tell today. Some things have happened. One of these things is a change I'm making in my personal life. I'm sick and tired of a certain group of people. I'm not going to put up with their BS anymore. So I'm going to tell you about that. I'm also going to tell you a story about Daphne the dog, who about got me killed last night. So I'll start with that, I guess. I've got to lead with the dog. y'all know, oh, well, at least regular fishing buddies here know that me and Daphne's a very high energy dog. She has to be exercised a lot every day, or else her behavior is just unbearable. I really have to run this dog hard to wear her out so that she's a tolerable dog to have in my life. That's just how it is with her. She's just very high energy. I hope she eventually outgrows it, but while she's calmed a little bit since 2 years ago when I got her, she's still higher energy than what I would like her to be. So anyhow, I get out there every day and we play Frisbee and play in the yard, and then we will run around she will run, I will ride the electric bike. Because these electric bike companies, they've give us a bunch of bikes for me to put on video and her to race and stuff, and I keep one just for our own personal usage because it's a very helpful tool. It's fun to ride them, and it's helpful for me to run her out of energy, because if I tried running around the yard with her, I wouldn't make it one lap, and she needs 3 or 4 laps to really, at full speed, to really kind of tire her down for a little while. So anyway, yesterday, we're out there, and I'm running around the yard on that bike, and part of my yard, my channel members seen this, and people that's watched the bike video seen it, but part of my yard going down the driveway is pretty steep hill, and you can get some speed going down that hill. Usually 25 plus miles an hour going down the hill. And Daphne is so fast, like I think he's got it. Another one. We hooked up again here on the white bass. Well, you know what, folks, here, if the white bass starts getting hit more than the skipjack, maybe that's another sign of things we need to consider, that maybe we need to focus on the white bass today. I think yesterday most of the fish, I think my biggest fish come on a small chunk of skipjack, but I think most of my fish came on white bass, although I was using white bass more, just trying to conserve the skipjack. What I wouldn't give to have a whole cooler full of skipjack. They've been so hard to get. If I ever get a whole cooler full, I'm gonna go down to Alabama and fish. I gotta get ready for that tournament, but I can't get enough bait to justify going down there. What's this fish done? Oh, he's ate the fly. He's ate the fly and got himself tail hooked with the cut bait hook. I don't like bringing in fish that are so stupid. This happens, they get themselves lassoed, but I don't want to have him throw that piece of cut bait off. Another dink. I hear you, old blue cat. You lay there and think about what you've done. Oh, Lord, now he's going to act out now that we got him unlassoed. He ate that fly. Fly got us another one. I like these flies, man. I've been using them on the suspend fishing rigs for a couple years. And this year I started playing with them on the dragging rigs. And I've been getting some extra fish with them. Now that one right there, he's too small. We could have done without catching him, but it is another bite, man. Fly got us another one. Let's send it back down again. Ain't gonna turn down a bite this early in the trip. I'm a little snobby right now, I've got a size of fish that I'm looking for, and that one was far from it. I'm wanting big ones today, but he gets y'all wet up there on the camera. I can't see. No, I think y'all look good. Y'all look beautiful. Not as beautiful as me, but it looks good. But, so anyway, Daphne the dog. We're going down this hill 25 miles an hour. And we get down in, and I cut to the right across my driveway. still got significant speed, probably 20 miles an hour as we go across. And all of a sudden, she's kind of neck and neck with me right there. She takes a tumble. I guess she stepped in the hole, she tripped. I don't know. Next thing you know, she's like head over butt rolling in front of me, and I'm laying on the brakes trying to swerve out the way. I think her life flashed before her eyes. My life was flashing before my eyes. We almost had a catastrophic crash because she can't keep herself upright. And it was a close call, man. It was a close call. It was like a little adrenaline spike right there. You know how it is when like somebody pulls out in front of you, you're driving, and somebody pulls out in front of you because they don't know how to drive, or they lay on the brakes or something and you ain't ready for it. And you get that little, I don't know, after the, it's like that adrenaline surge. Once you realize you're not going to die and you start to calm a little bit, you know how it is. It's hard to describe, but it's kind of that panic feeling. Yeah, I think Daphne and I both had that, a little PTSD from it or something. I don't know. But her and I, we've wrecked twice before, where I've just accidentally hit that front wheel with her when she gets a little too close. And thankfully, both the other times we've been going at slower speeds. So I've still hit the ground both times, but fortunately, we both, other than maybe bruised ego and maybe a few physical bruises, not much to worry about with it. But had we wrecked going 20 plus miles an hour, especially if I had ran over her while she was, I wish I had been filming. We were just out there playing. It wasn't like a promotional thing. But she was going head over butt. It was almost like we were in the Matrix. And I'm not a fan of that Matrix movie. I never got into it, but that scene where they're kind of like moving in slow motion, and you can it was kind of like that for a second. Like time slowed down for a second there as it was happening. It was something. But yeah, Daphne the dog damn near got us killed yesterday. She seems to be okay though. She didn't. After the initial adrenaline rush wore off of me not dying, and then I got to kind of worrying about her. I'm like, well, she must have stepped in a hole or something. I hope she didn't sprain an ankle or whatever, but she seems okay. She was no worse for the wear. Damn dog's gonna be the end of me though, folks. One way or the other, she's gonna be the end of me. I keep hoping she's gonna turn into a better dog. I love her. I'm attached to her. But every time you think you can trust her, that she's rounded the corner, we're going to be a good dog all the time now, she just does something. Like, I told that story about her damn near cutting my foot off when I was trying to give her a bath. I was trying to give her a bath because she had rolled in crap right before I had to go somewhere. It's always something with her. I've been more vigilant lately though about closing my gate. I think I've gotten all of my properties fenced. And she had found just about every way out of my property. Like if there was any gap in the fence, any loose area on the bottom, anywhere she could get out, dig her way out, she had found it. And I think I've blocked all of those or got the fence kind of staked down into the ground. I think knock on wood, I think I've secured all of those places, and I've been more vigilant about closing my gate. So she hasn't been able to run off in about a month. And so we got that going for us at least. I haven't had to interact with any of my neighbors. It ain't so much that she runs off. Like my neighbor's dog, or dogs, he's got a Doberman and some other kind of, I don't know if it's like a lab chow mix. It's a larger dog, kind of fluffy. They get out of his fence sometimes. And I saw them both the other day, and they had been pretty good ways down the road. And then I saw them a little while later, and they come up, and they went back home. They went out, they escaped, they had their fun, probably peed on some trees that they don't normally pee on in the neighborhood, and then they went back home. Daphne, she don't go back home. She just keeps going. She just gets farther and farther away, and every time she gets out, whoever calls me is farther than the last person who called me. Like, she got almost 2 miles away the last time that she got out. And so I don't know why she's like that. Most dogs just go home. They go have their fun, and then they go back, and she don't. So I've been worried that if one of these times she's going to get out, she's going to venture into the highway on her travels, and people fly up and down that highway. They ain't going to be able to stop. So I worry about her, but I've been more vigilant, and I'm hoping we'll eventually break her of it. She's something else, though. She ain't been able to catch no squirrels lately. I've been trying. I'm thinking about trying to take up falconry so I can get me a hawk. Be able to take care of my squirrel problem there at the bird feeders. I was talking about that in one of these recent videos, because Brandon Hunter, he's got a new YouTube channel called Fins and Talons. He fishes our kayak catfishing tournament trail. He lives up in Ohio. And he's big into falconry. He captures these hawks and kestrel, I think is the other name of the bird they have up there. And he will tame these birds and train them and hunt with them. And, you know, he talked to me about it that last time I was up there, and then he made a video on it, and now I've went down the rabbit hole. I've watched his stuff, and he's got a couple videos out on it now, and his last video was pretty entertaining. He put a GoPro on the cage, on the trap. And so you can see these birds, like, attacking this trap because it's got a rat or gerbil in there to get the hawk's attention. And you can see them things swoop around and boom. I mean, they got some speed. It's pretty awesome. But I've went down the rabbit hole on falconry, and because I think I like birds anyway. I have a bird feeder right in front of my living room window, and I like to sit there and watch birds. It's one of my guilty pleasures that I spend money on, birdseed, of something that ain't fishing related. And I like the blue jays and the cardinals, and the titmouse, the tufted titmouse is a bird that frequents my feeders. I just like saying the name titmouse more than anything. But I like my birds. And I've got these squirrels that, even though I have tried my best to offer them a peace treaty by feeding the squirrels out on their tree, they still venture to my feeders. And I can't stop them from getting up there because they jump from my porch over to the feeders. And if I move the feeders further away, then I can't see them from the living room window when I'm sitting on the couch. So kind of forced to leave the feeders where they are for my viewing pleasure, but the squirrels have easy access that way. So anyhow, thinking about getting me a hawk, training that thing to attack them squirrels. But as I've went down the rabbit hole, I have really been surprised. I mean, I don't, we got a fish working this one right here. Something's going on. Something had hit us. If you ain't going to commit to it, fish, leave it the hell alone. We ain't putting up your nonsense today, fish. These people, they either want to reel you in or have a bait down there in good condition. They ain't dealing with this crap today. All right, hopefully he listened to that. I told him in a stern voice. It don't work on Daphne, but maybe it will on that fish. You know, I assumed, and again, I know absolutely, I'm a complete ignorant, I know nothing about falconry. I didn't even know such a thing existed until I was talking to Brandon up there last month in Ohio. So I I fully acknowledge my ignorance. I know nothing. But just my own assumption, I assume it would be quite difficult to train a wild bird to do anything that you want, all right? I mean, I assume there's a process with that that's pretty extensive. And so I'm not naive enough to think that I could just capture a hawk on my own and train this daggone thing to do what I want it to do. Like, I would need training on how to do such a thing. But I was shocked as I researched this more. I was shocked to realize how much training you need to be able to do this. So in order to be a quote-unquote falconer, for those of you that may be interested in this thing, and I don't know if it varies state by state or not. I think this is more of a national thing, like a U.S. game, wildlife and fish and wildlife, whatever the big department over the national United States deal is. I would imagine, I'm sure each state has their own regulations as far as what kind of birds you can trap and when, but I think the overall sport of it is managed on a national, federal level. But anyhow, it's a process, man. You have to be, first off, you got to find somebody willing to train you. That is a actual falconer. And you have to do an apprenticeship for 2 years. 2 years. And then you can become I forget what the next level is. There's 3 levels. There's the apprentice, something in the middle, and I think there's a master level. But yeah, you got to do an apprenticeship for 2 years. And that's a big commitment. And y'all know, hell, the women in my life know, I have a hard time with commitments. So as much as I would like to have a hawk to rid myself of the squirrels at my house, I don't know that I can make a 2-year commitment. I don't know that I got it in me. I know myself well enough to know that I probably wouldn't follow through. And if I'm not going to follow through, then it's probably best I don't start. I don't like starting stuff and not finishing it. You know, if I set a goal for myself, I want to complete that goal. It's a bad practice, just not for the individual activity that you're wanting to do, but it's a bad practice in life to not fulfill, not complete your goals. When you set a goal, when you start working towards something, you need to finish it. You may not get the outcome that you want. It may not go as well as what you wanted, but you need to still complete it. You need to finish it. It's just, you don't want to be a quitter. It's a bad path to go down. And when you do it once, it gets easier and easier the next time. And then before you know it, every time something gets hard, you're the type of person that's just going to quit. So I think it's best to take a look at whatever it is that you're considering doing, whether it's going to school, trying a new career, doing a new hobby, just some personal, whether it's personal fitness, personal achievement, whatever it is that you're considering doing. I think personally, and this is just my opinion, so take it with a grain of salt, but I think it's good practice to just, before you embark on something, give it some thought and think about, how bad do I want this? What am I willing to do to get it? And if you're not willing to do what's necessary to get yourself to wherever it is that you're trying to go in life, career, school, whatever, then just don't do it. You know, look, because if you're not willing to go through the hard times to get what you want, you probably don't want it that bad to begin with. And so if you waste time on that, first off, again, you're setting yourself up for being a quitter in the future. If you start something and you quit, and next time you start something, you quit, it's just, you're starting a pattern you don't want to go down. And the other flip side of that is, If you're spending time on something that you're not willing to go the distance on, well, you're taking time away from something that maybe you would be willing to go the distance on. And even if you don't know what that is, maybe you don't, that's okay. But if you're wasting time doing something that you're clearly not passionate enough about to do whatever it takes to achieve or accomplish the goal, then you're kind of shut down from potentially recognizing or finding out something that you would be super passionate about. So it's just, I just think it's best to just not start it. That's my own thoughts with it. I could be, I'm not a psychologist or a psychiatrist or anything. I don't know enough about human behavior to know if I'm just telling you lies or not, but that's just my own personal beliefs with it. That's kind of how I try to live my life. I just think you need to, if you're going to start something, I think you need to see it through, for better or worse. Maybe that's why I ain't never been married. That's an excuse I'll use anyway. That's what I'll tell them. That's what I'll tell all the ladies. Honey, I love you, but I don't know that I can see this through till death do us part. So it's better we just don't walk down that aisle. I don't think that I haven't, obviously I've had a lot of breakups and stuff in the past, but I don't think that'd be a weird conversation to have. Like, honey, I love you. You're the woman of my dreams, but I don't think I can see this through until death do us part. So I just want things to be how they are now until they ain't, and then I'm going to drop you and go on to the next one. The conversation, you can't have that conversation, folks. You can't do that. I'm always envious of people like Kurt Russell and Goldie Hawn. Some of you kids probably don't know who the hell I'm talking about, but they were actors. And they was in a movie called Overboard back in, I don't know, oh, fish. Got a tug. They was in a movie called Overboard back in either the late 80s or early 90s. It was an awesome movie. One of them movies you can just put on, you don't really have to think about. Very entertaining. I won't spoil it for you, but the basic premise of the story was Goldie Hawn is a rich woman on a yacht, very snooty, highfalutin woman. Kurt Russell is a down-on-his-luck carpenter with multiple kids. And he goes to do some work on Goldie Hawn's yacht. She doesn't like the work he's doing, gives him attitude and stuff. And anyway, Goldie Hawn has a little accident, goes overboard on the yacht, and gets amnesia. She loses her memory. And Kurt Russell sees her on the news. They're trying to figure out who this woman is. And so he comes up with the story to claim that she is his wife. And he goes down there to the hospital and claims her and takes her home. And he's doing this to try to get some work out of her because she stiffed him on the payment. Okay, that fish is hooked up. That one's pulling, buddy. Oh, he's going to take the line there. Okay. To be continued on Overboard. Hell of a movie. I want you to go watch it. This is another one on white bass, or possibly the fly. Skipjack head over there ain't getting messed with. Could it be another day where either the white bass is outperforming the skipjack, or just that they want a smaller bait? We still got our smaller bait there on the suspend rig. But the suspend rig ain't been getting hit lately anyway, so it's tough to say. I don't know. We're going to keep the setup we got for now. That's our last skipjack head, so when it's time to switch it out, we'll be putting a white bass head on anyway. I think this is going to be the best one so far, although the bar has been set pretty low to this point in the trip. With the dinkity doodahs that we have gotten so far. Unless we just got another small fish and I've got him foul hooked or something. He feels like he's going to be okay. I'd like to bust a big one today. Oh, something was hitting our suspended bait. I might have conjured this one up there. He hit it, he didn't hook up. Yeah, it's a good fish right there, man. I knew he felt better. Getting some redemption here, folks. For our snag right there earlier, we got us some redemption. I'm gonna tire this one out just a second here. Make sure he's hooked good. Yeah, all right, old white bass, getting it done. It's a good thing too, because that's about all I can catch for bait right now. And even them haven't been very easy. All right. All right, get your glove on this one, folks. If you're gonna try to land this thing for me. Wouldn't kill you to land one once in a while. If you ain't gonna reel them in, at least help me out. Bring a net or something next time you come fishing with me. Oh, I could have done without the splash fish. Okay. Okay. Yeah, that's a pretty good fish. We'll give this one some front camera time right here. Uh-huh. Okay. Nice. Let me get my pliers on him, apparently. Better quality, folks. Business just picked up, as Jim Ross would say back in the wrestling was good. All right, fish. Business picked up. There we go. Y'all set up here in the front so you can take a picture, would you? Get a picture of me and this old fish. Make his day. Nice, y'all. I'll give that in a fist pump. Old fun sizer here. He's a long fish. Just skinny, you know, post-spawn. Still working on getting some weight on here from... I don't see any marks or anything, so he's probably been off the nest a little while, at least enough to heal up, but you can see just skinny for its size. Another month from now, this fish will weigh significantly more. Pretty good fight though, overall. Definitely, I knew when I was reeling that one in, I'm like, this one's definitely bigger than the other ones. Nice. You got any friends down there with you, Blue Cat? Just one or two? I'll take them. I'll catch them all. Get on out of here. Hey, gone. Nice, y'all. That brightens my spirits a little bit. I tell you, I don't like getting snagged. I especially don't like breaking off. That dampens the mood. But catching fish like that brighten a man's spirits up a little bit. Let's see what our bait looks like. We may or may not switch it out. We got our... Well, he's messed up our whole rig right there, ain't he? Let's see what we got going on here. There we go. Get our float and rattle situation. Well, I'm going to put another piece on. Yeah, I'm going to just switch that out and just freshen it up. Good news is that was our piece of white bass that still had the gut pocket, so that was a slightly bigger piece of bait. I got half of mine to reel that skipjack head in, and put us on a piece of white bass head, or white bass head there, because I mean, that thing, you'd think, I mean, like I said, every day's different, but that skipjack head ought to at least, if we're coming across small fish, they ought to at least be down there just chewing on that thing, you know, like pecking at it and whatnot. And they're not doing that. They're not touching it. But our white bass, even before that fish ate it, like it had been hit a few times. So, I mean, they're nipping at it. We'll leave it be for a little while. We may end up just switching over to all white bass. Get them scales off there. I'll tell you what I am going to do too. I'm going to leave the skipjack head on for now, for sure, but let's make sure this is, yeah, okay, we're good. Let's let the line out on that one. Well, I was going to say I was going to reel in our suspended bait here and switch it out for a piece of white bass, and well, I thought something was going to happen. Well, look at that pile of fish. Wonder what them are. Them are a little bit bigger. We're going to put a piece of white bass on here. This skipjack chunk here, it's time for it to be switched out anyway. And I'd like to put a piece of white bass on there. The white bass has been hit too many times compared to the skipjack. We just need to put something on there, switch it up. I'll feel better about it. If I feel better, we all feel better, folks. So let's just bear with me. Just humor me. Cut them fins off. Now I'm going to finish telling you about Kurt Russell and Goldie Hawn. If y'all don't know about Kurt Russell and Goldie Hawn, you don't know what you're missing out on. They've got life by the balls. There we go. Always get them scales off your hook points and your barbs. If you don't, you are going to be regretting it at some point. It will cost you some fish. Down it goes. I'm going to get rid of them tails too. Ain't going to fool with them. Just chum the water down there. All right. So 2 pieces of white bass now and a skipjack head out. Put that back in our cooler. So yeah, so that movie Overboard, I don't know if it was in the 80s, early 90s. I remember watching it as a kid. It used to come on TBS all the time, so I've seen it. I could probably recite it line for line if the movie was going. But yeah, so Kurt Russell, Goldie Hawn, great movie. One of the movies you just put on, background noise, you don't have to think about it. Entertaining. But fun fact, they're actually together in real life. They have been for years, but they're not married. They're just like boyfriend, girlfriend type thing. They're not actually married. And so they kind of went against societal culture, societal norms, and just said, we're going to do what works for us. And I admire that. I like that. I like anybody that'll go against the grain on stuff that don't make no damn sense. Like, I get 2 people wanting to be committed to each other for life. I get that. But what I don't get is why you gotta bring government into it. You know what I mean? Like, to get married, and I ain't no expert on this, so I could be misspeaking on some of this stuff, but you gotta have a license to get married. A marriage license. So you got to pay a fee. And then when you do your taxes, you gotta do your taxes different. Because the government wants to know. It shouldn't make no damn difference whether you single, married, whatever. Ain't none of the government's business what you got going on in your personal life. It ain't nobody in the government's business, but you got to declare it when you file your taxes. And so I don't know how marriages came about, and I ain't saying that I ain't never going to get married. I certainly ain't saying that. But I think it's in 2024 where, what's the divorce rate? It's over 50%. And then you got to figure the number's actually higher, right? Because there's probably a lot of people out there that, I mean, I've known people like this, like the husband and wife, like they're over each other, like they're done, but they've got kids, so they're trying to keep the happy home for the kids. So they're pretty much divorced, right? I mean, it's like they're emotionally divorced, even though they're still living together and going through the motions. Like, so that number, the 50 some odd % divorce rate, has got to be significantly higher than that when you factor in the people who are emotionally divorced. So it's a gamble, man. It's a huge gamble. And as a man, and well, I may be being a bit sexist here when I say this, because most of the time, well, and I say this, my numbers could be off, but here's how it seems to be, okay? It seems to be, just the people that I've personally known that have went through divorce, it seems to be that the man gets screwed. It seems like divorces favor women. Maybe it's because the man typically makes more, and I could be off on that in modern day times. I don't know, but it seems like the man usually makes more, so there's alimony, and if child support, if there's kids and child support, the man, it seems like, is the one always paying. I've worked with, through the years, predominantly women. I've never met a single woman who was paying a man child support, ever. I'm sure it exists. It happens, right? Of course it happens. There's deadbeat moms the same way there's deadbeat dads. And so if the mom's just one of those people and got problems in life and stuff, it's possible she's paying the man or ordered to pay. Whether she pays or not, it's one story, but you know what I mean. Like, could be in a court situation where she's supposed to be paying child support to the man. But I would be willing to bet you a shiny nickel that the percentage would be overwhelming, that it would be men paying the woman child support. And I ain't trying to say, like, if two people got a kid, that they shouldn't both be financially on the hook. But I also don't think just because maybe a man is a high earner that he should be losing just an enormous amount of money to support this woman he's no longer married to and the kid. The money should go toward the kid, not the woman's new shoes and new purses. You shouldn't have to pay for her lifestyle. You know what? If she liked that lifestyle so damn much, then she should have been more proactive on keeping the marriage together. That's how I feel about it. So anyway, it's a big gamble to get married. Like, you gotta be willing to just basically lose half your stuff and half your money if you're going to take the risk. And, of course, when people get married, they got their blinders on. They understand that they love each other right now. They're not necessarily thinking about 5 years down the road, 15 years down the road. Who are you going to be then? What kind of person are you going to be then? I look at my own life. Again, I guess I'm middle-aged now at 42, which is... When I was young, it always seemed like middle age was like 50s. But when you figure the average man lives to be mid to late 70s, well, 40s, over middle-aged at this point. And I don't know, you know, it just seems like the whole marriage thing, you've got to take the gamble, because you're not going to be the person you are today if you get married, and the person your wife is going to be today is not going to be who you're going to be 5 years, 15 years from now. It's just not. I mean, I look at my own life. I'm way different now than I was at 20 years old. And I was way different at 30 years old than I was at 20. And I'm way different at 40 than I was at 30. It's just, you change. People change throughout life. And just because you're madly in love with somebody now and you get along great and life is good, it don't mean that you're going to, in a perfect world, you two would grow together as one, right? Like, that's how it's supposed to be. But you know, in reality, that's just not always the case. People have personal goals and careers, and life just takes you in different directions sometimes. And that's a choice. That's certainly a choice. If two people are truly committed to each other and are willing to sacrifice for each other and sacrifice their own maybe personal goals or personal wants for the greater good of the marriage, which is, I mean, that's how it should be, right? In a perfect world, then great. But how many people are really, really willing to do that? You know, in 2024, where I think the world is more selfish now than ever before. I can't prove that. It seems like social media has really, maybe people have always been this way, and maybe social media just highlights the problems of people in society. I don't know, but it seems like we're more selfish than ever before. And the grass is always greener, and you're always going to be exposed to that greener grass, whether it's social media or just people you meet in life. You know what I mean? Like, it's easy to cut ties when things ain't going good. It's like I talked about before, of once you quit one thing, it's easier to quit the next thing. And yeah, I don't know. It's just a huge gamble. And I could be way off base statistically, but everybody I know, the man always gets hosed. And I've certainly known more women who have gotten divorced than I have men. And so when I say it's always the man who loses, like I'm getting this from the female perspective, like female coworkers and stuff I've had in the past, where it's like, boy, you really fleeced this guy. You know, when you hear what they're getting in the divorce and the terms and stuff, it's like, wow, how did this guy not have a good lawyer? Like, how did this even happen? So it's just a big risk. So unless you got a prenup in place, it would be hard to fully take the plunge and say I do, for me at least, if I didn't have a prenup. And how do you talk to a woman like, honey, I love you. You're the love of my life. I am committed to you till death do us part. But in case I'm not, I need you to sign this prenup here, just basically making sure I keep all my money and my house and my car and everything else. Nothing says I love you like a prenup. But it's the responsible thing to do. Unless you're just willing to risk it all. And this fish is risking it all on that skipjack hit. Oh, and he dropped it. That fish was willing to risk it all to eat that bait with a hook in it. And then he let go. At the last second, right before that fish said, I do, he walked down the aisle. He took his bride by the hand, but he didn't say, I do. He spit that bait before he got the hook. He wanted that bait to sign a prenup, and he wouldn't do it. And so he said, all right, I'm going to let it go. I'm not getting caught today. If that fish had known I was going to release it, maybe he'd have considered it. I don't know how the hell we got on this. But by God, Kurt Russell and Goldie Hawn ain't got to go through this. You know why? Because they ain't married. And I'd be curious, I wonder if they live in the same house even. Because how awesome would it be to have that kind of relationship and separate residences? That would be pretty awesome too. I ain't trying to talk any of you fellas out there all y'all out there right now that's watching with your girlfriends. Boy, they're pissed at me, I bet. Like that damn Kayak Catfish guy, he's talking my boyfriend out of proposing to me, out of marrying me. That's what she's going to be. She's on her phone right now over her fella. If you look over at your girlfriend watching this video with you, and she's got a pissed off look at her face, on her face there, and she's on her phone, boy, she's probably pounding them keys there to text her friends. You're not going to believe this. That damn Kayak Catfish guy, he's going to keep me from getting married this year. And you want to talk about a racket, man. I've got friends that have spent thousands of dollars to get married. I mean, thousands of dollars. I mean, it's a big to-do to rent a place, feed all these people, you know, honeymoon, all this stuff. Like, it's a big to-do to get married. I think the smart people that do it right just go down to the courthouse. They go down there to the courthouse and pay their marriage license fee, or go to Las Vegas or something and have Elvis marry you. You can probably do that for $99, I bet. Maybe $59 on a Tuesday or something. Go have the king. Oh, speaking of the king, I think he may have it, folks. He got that bait to sign the prenup. On the head. All right. Finally, y'all, I left that head bait out. I've just got so much confidence in it, even though today the fish have definitely shown a preference toward the rig with the white bass. It's hard for me to get away from that skipjack head when I have one. I at least want one rod out. You could talk me into getting rid of that third rod up there, the suspend rod. I've got it out just kind of hopefully. Maybe if we run into a flathead. I'm just not likely to catch a flathead on the dragging rig, although I did get one on a recent trip. Dragging, it just don't happen very often. I don't think this is going to be a very big fish considering the size of the bait. Yeah, it's a larger dink. It's another skinny fish. Long and skinny fish right here. We'll take a look at this bait. We may end up going ahead and putting a white bass head on that's in better condition. Yeah, another just skinny, fun size length, super skinny. What do you think, fish? You want to come up here and get you a little camera time, Instagram follower? What do you think? You want? He said he don't give a damn about no Instagram follower. He said Instagram's dead. He said ain't nobody on that platform anymore. Come here. Oh crap! I dropped that line. That fish, he thought he's free. He thought I done let him go. Joke's on you, fish. Okay, there you go. Hey, Would you come up here and act like somebody, would you? Act like somebody. There you go. Yeah, this in here. Just another long, skinny fish. Get the pliers on. We'll take a look at this bait here in a second. I'll put you up here in the front seat. You can see this fish, just see how skinny it is there. Just, I mean, long fish. I mean, I'd say 32, 34 inches long, just super skinny. I mean, it doesn't weigh very much at all. Just spawned out, you know, been on the nest protecting it, and they lose a bunch of weight during that time. And so they'll get it back on over the next few weeks. Just take some time. That slime on there looks like a damn booger on my hand. Something hit that rod. Yeah, I'm gonna go ahead. You can see that bait there is kind of washed out a little bit. We'll just go ahead. We already got this white bass head cut back here. We'll just go ahead and put it on, and they've definitely shown a preference today, at least thus far anyway, for the white bass, it seems like. So we'll try it. I definitely want one head bait out for sure. Even if it ends up being just like a body section preference, I just want a head out because it's a big fish bait. Oh, another. What do we do with that head? Oh, there it is. Must have fell out of the bag. Let's cut them off. All right. Back out it goes. Where it stops, y'all gonna know. It's gonna be about, I don't know, 30 yards behind me maybe. All right. Well, we got that done. Don't let me forget to flip that bell over. Normally, if I got these dragging, oh, has he got it now? Nope. Keeps hitting it. Let me just, no, he ain't on there. Just come up there nipping it. I was trying to say, normally if I got these dragging rods up in front of me, I got a visual reminder I need to flip that bell over. But when in this case, I got this one behind me. If I get to talking and get distracted, I can forget to flip that bell over. There's been times where I've let all the damn line out on it. Like, it's just, I've been all the way down to the back end. You know what I mean? Like, it's a wonder you didn't lose everything sometimes. I don't remember what I was talking about now. I think I was pissing women off. Yeah, I gotta get off the topic. You fellas, you're gonna be forced to marry your girlfriend just to go against me. I'm gonna be costing y'all a lot of money. But that whole business, man, the whole wedding industry, it's a racket. Again, it ain't none of the government's damn business. Whether you single, married, or what, ain't none of their business. You shouldn't have to pay a fee to the government to get no damn marriage license. You should be able to just get married if you want to. And you shouldn't have to pay thousands of dollars to do it. You should just go down there at the courthouse, confess your love, and sign the dotted line. That should be how it goes. These people paying gazillions of dollars, man, it's something else. I hate being, and I've had to be in a couple weddings. And of the two weddings I've been in, one of those couples is divorced. So they're right on. So my own wedding experience, at least the ones I've had to personally be in, like wear a tux and tuxedo for, it's right on par with the national divorce average. But yeah, I don't even want to be friends with somebody that's going to get married and force me to have to be in a wedding. Is this fish got it for real this time? I'm about sick of his crap. Oh, what we got going on here? Oh, that's a fish. That's a fish right there on the suspended one. We're doubled, actually. That's a good one. This is a good one, folks. This is a good one. This is a good one right here in the hand. That one on the dragon rig's small. We'll deal with him later, because I know y'all ain't gonna reel him in for me. I can't get y'all to do a damn thing. This was a nice takedown, though. Nice. Finally getting some action here on the suspended bait. Yesterday was like, you know, you just couldn't. For whatever reason lately, the suspended bite just ain't been on, but now my biggest fish yesterday, I'm pretty sure, was the one I got on a suspend rig. I think this in here is gonna be pretty good. This is my favorite way to fish right here, though. If I can catch them suspended, it's what I want to do, because it's fun. Best takedowns, the hardest fights. You got so much line out when you're dragging, it takes away from some of it. Yeah, that's a good one. That's the biggest one so far. I knew that takedown. I was like, that's got to be a good fish, and it is. This one right here is a good fish. It's got a little weight on it. I'll tell you what we're gonna do. I'm gonna play this one out a second. I'm gonna put it back in the rod holder, and we'll reel in our other one over here. Since I can't get y'all to lift a finger to help me out here. Got two fish on. Y'all won't even reel in one. Nice, man, that's a good fish. Good fish right there. I like it, y'all, I like it. Makes me happy. We had that snag first thing. Kind of tried to damper the day. Fish are making up for it. We just covering some water going up through here on this ledge bite. This one here ain't gonna be no good. This is gonna be a baby compared to the one we got over there on the left. What we'll do is go ahead and land this one, the small one, and cut us another bait, get it going out while we get our big one. Well, we can try to be efficient. Yeah, this one's throwing the bait off anyway. Okay, small fish. He just unhooked himself. I should have dangled him over the side. You could have unhooked yourself in the water and not even come in here. We'll see you, buddy. Ain't got time for you. We got Big Mama over here. Well, my seat. Y'all hear my seat? It's squeaking a lot more now. I'm going to be replacing this kayak at some point in the near future here. I want to see that new Bonafide kayak when it comes out. I'm probably going to go with it. But this seat's really been acting up. May need some WD-40 somewhere. Okay. All right. Yeah, I think tomorrow, looking at the bait we got left there, I think tomorrow I'm gonna have to make a bait run. I think that's gonna be the plan for tomorrow. And hopefully they're still gonna be where I found them at the other day. Let's get this bait on. Y'all could have had that fish landed. You could have had this rod baited. Be letting it out. But no, I gotta do everything around here. Okay, down it goes. Now let's get our big fish. This is a good one, folks. This one right here tickles me fancy. I like being tickled fancy. And still seeing too, by the way, before we land this fish, let me just show you all that. See all that bait up there, 20, 30 feet deep, and some along the bottom? It's been like that on that ledge all the way up through here. 41 feet here where we're at. There, Why don't y'all set up here up front again? There we go. Okay. You about tired out, fish? You better be. Nope, he ain't. Or she ain't. Can't tell if this is a, I think this is a female fish here. Come here now, let's get you landed. I want to hold you up and show you off to the world. My prized catch here. Okay. Yep. Nice. Yeah, folks, this one here, pretty good fish right here. Boy, it's got the daggone line around the tail too. How'd you do that, fish? There we go. That's a solid fish, man. That's got a little bit more weight to it than some of the others had. Hell of a battle though, man. Did you see that line go down that rod? That's awesome. That's why I like suspend fishing, for that right there. If I was on a bite that's half as good as what we've been on, I gotta flip that bail over there. If I was on a bite half as good as what I've been on with the dragon, with suspended baits, that's what we'd be doing, but I just ain't getting many fish suspending. Don't know why, but they've just preferred the dragging lately. And this one here certainly did. Hell of a takedown. Thank you, fish. Love it. Love it, y'all. Well, we'll put us another, actually, I do think I need to let more line out on that. But yeah, let's put us another chunk of white bass on this suspend rig, and we will be back in business. He threw it off, or ate at one. Let's cut this one right here. Nice, y'all. That's getting better quality right there. It makes me happy. That's more of that size and bigger is what we're out here to get. Cut them fins off. Yeah, I think it's best just tomorrow, make a bait run. And if weather allows, get back out. My main reason for wanting to try to conserve, not necessarily conserve bait, but if we had plenty left, go ahead and go catfishing tomorrow, is the weather's gonna be good tomorrow. Thursday's looking a little questionable. So if I do get bait tomorrow, I hope to be able to go catfishing the following day, but no guarantees at the present forecast. Boy, what is going on here? We got our, there we go, had our line around the damn, oh, what has happened? Somehow or another, y'all have got your daggone rig looped through. I don't even know how y'all done that. It's a good thing I'm good at getting out tangles, because y'all are good at making them. I can't take yins anywhere. Absolutely nowhere can I take yins that you don't cause some kind of problem. All the time. Everywhere I go with yins, you all time getting something snagged up, you getting a tangle of some sort. I can't get an ounce of work out of you before you, oh, look right here, I just flipped that bell over just a little bit ago. Oh, did he drop it? Is he coming at me? I think he dropped it. Let's just go ahead and reel it in. He was on there, he dropped it. Just make sure our bait's still. Yeah, it's still hooked good and everything. Okay. Well, there it goes. Let's send it back down again. Well, we got all white bass on now. Head and 2 chunks. And man, that white bass, it's a good summertime bait. It's my favorite time to use white bass is in the summer. I don't do particularly good on it in the winter months. I like more shad or crappie in those months, but for some reason, white bass in the hottest part of summer, July, August, and maybe it's just because it's post-spawn and they're very aggressively feeding, I don't know, but I've caught a lot of fish and a lot of big fish on white bass in the hot summer months in years past, and so I've got a ton of confidence in it. Not as much confidence as I do skipjack, but yesterday and now today, better quality fish have come on the white bass, so certainly helps me because it's been easier to get white bass lately than it has been skipjack. Well, I finally got them. I had 3 or 4. I can't remember how many I had. It must have been 3 because I think I used 1 skipjack yesterday and we've used 2 today. So I must have had 3 skipjack on that last bait run, but got several white bass. So it's one of them situations. You've got to take what the river gives you. If the only bait you can get is white bass, use it because that's better than nothing. Assuming you can use white bass wherever you live. Someplace you can, someplace you can't. Check your local laws. In Tennessee, we can use it. In Alabama, you can't. So, I want to load up on a cooler bait and head to Alabama, get ready for this tournament I got coming up. I ain't been able to do it because I can't get any damn skipjack. At least not enough skipjack to justify going to Alabama. And I hate to go down there and try to catch bait when I get there because it's just, that's a gamble in itself. And so I've held off on going down there to practice, but I need to go down there and practice a little bit. What I may end up doing is just going down there and on tournament day and just winging it. That may be what ends up happening if I don't get on a good bait bite between now and then. We'll see. Got a little time left before I got to go down there. I'll tell you what though, man. The lower humidity, when you first get out in the mornings, first leave the house, it's still dark, it was comfortable, cool and comfortable. But boy, as soon as that sun gets up, it gets hot quick. I'm already hot, y'all. Let's flip our bail over on that rod. I don't remember what we was talking about before. I think hopefully I was done pissing off all your girlfriends and talking y'all out of marrying them. Again, I ain't saying I ain't gonna get married at some point, y'all. Oh, suspender I'll get hit. I guess I ain't gonna get me a drink real quick. Oh, he dropped it. Well, let's try that again. Let's see if I can get me a drink this time. So, yeah, anyway, I ain't saying I ain't gonna get married at some point. I ain't trying to talk you out of getting married. All I'm saying is just don't go into it with blinders on thinking that you and her ain't going to change at some point down the road. Spend the $500, $1,000, whatever, and get you a prenup. Just protect yourself. Protect what you got. Just in case you're in that 50 some odd percent that for whatever reason don't make it. You know what I mean? And maybe whatever percentage of people there are that's just kind of emotionally divorced from each other, maybe if they had a prenup, they would be actually divorced from each other. So anyway, y'all, I apologize to y'all's girlfriends for talking you out of it. There was some girl going to get a ring for her birthday or Christmas or something, and I just talked them out of it. I'll tell you some more people I'm gonna piss off too. This is why I was meant to tell you earlier there. I don't know how I didn't get on this topic before, but I'm making a change in my life regarding communication with people via, especially text messages. I don't really communicate with anybody by phone call anymore. I mean, I talk to my mom every day because she likes to hear her baby boy's voice. And so that's a daily phone call. My girlfriend will call if she needs something, like, hey, I'm on my way over. What do you want for dinner tonight? Or, you know, we're going to a movie or something like that. Like, you know, if there's something that's urgent that needs to be, it was this fish right here, he's swimming with that dang bait. Well, he was swimming off with it, but he didn't have it. Still hooked good and everything. Let's send it back down. But anyway, most of the communication that I do is via text message. And there is a group of people that, and again, maybe this is just a cultural thing, societal thing that I just don't fit in with. But there's a trend happening here, and I think it's getting worse. I'm gonna kick back and relax a little bit here. Y'all get your sunglasses and an ice cold drink and just relax while we wait on this fish to bite as my kayak seat squeaks and creaks here. Let me tell you about these people that piss me off though. You know, text messages are a convenient form of communicating that don't require actual voice communication, like a conversation. You know what I mean? Like it's convenient and you can multitask. You can be doing other things with other people or work or life or whatever and be able to respond to text messages. So it's convenient from that aspect. But some people are abusing this. And it's these people who, let's say somebody texts me and they ask me a question. Now, if I don't get to that, maybe I can't answer the phone right away. I'm busy. I got stuff going on. I'm doing something. 30 minutes, an hour or more goes by before I respond. I then completely understand why they can't respond back to my response immediately because some time has passed and maybe now they're busy doing something. But here's the people that piss me off. Let's say somebody texts me, they ask me a question, and they catch me at a good time. I'm not doing anything, I'm not busy. I get their message, I read it, and I instantly respond seconds later. If they don't then respond back immediately, if they wait an hour, a day, however the hell long, that pisses me off. Because I responded back immediately. Like if you had time to text me to begin with, why don't you have time to respond when I instantly respond to you? Again, I cut them some slack. Like if they message me and you know I'm busy and I can't get to it for an hour or more, I understand that when I respond, they might then be busy. They've moved on with their life. They're doing other things. But if you pull out your phone and you're texting me and I instantly respond, but you can't respond back, you know, you reached out to me. I think it's rude. And maybe I'm completely off base on this. Maybe I'm wrong, but that's how I feel about it. So here's what I'm doing. And y'all may eat me alive for this. This may sound ridiculous to some of you. But I'm instituting a new rule in life. If you are a serial offender of this, meaning that I go through this regularly with you, you text me, I respond, and then it takes you a few hours, a day later to get back to me, even if I respond instantly. If you do this repeatedly to me, I'm gonna put your ass on a delay, meaning I'm not going to respond to you for at least a day. And I'm hoping what I will do from that is deter people from texting me at all. Because again, I'm not big on communication anyway. Like I'm the worst friend ever. Like I usually only respond. I rarely reach out to anybody. I will respond if somebody I know reaches out to me. Like I've got, you know, some people have my actual phone number. They'll send text. Some people have my personal Facebook Messenger. But beyond that, like Instagram messages, those go, I don't have any notifications on for Instagram messages. If it's somebody new on Instagram messaging me, it goes to some folder somewhere, like message request thing. I don't even see that crap. TikTok, I've got it turned off. Like the only two way, in my Facebook business page, the messenger's turned off on it. So the only way people can get in touch with me is either text message or my personal Facebook Messenger. And I don't approve anybody on Facebook that I don't know. So it's very limited people that have access to me to where they can message me and it will actually buzz or ding on my phone. And if those people who have that access to me, if I feel like they're not being respectful of my time, then hell with them. You know what I mean? Like, I'm just, because I didn't want to talk to them to begin with, or else I'd have reached out to them. And especially if they're like asking me something. If they're needing my help with something and I offer it, and then they can't be bothered to respond back for hours or a day later. This fish over here needs to leave it alone. We need to have that conversation with this fish again. Either eat it or leave it be. But don't sit down there and chew on it all daggone day. Hopefully he listened. I told him sternly again. But yeah, and I'm noticing it's happening more and more frequently, that kind of thing. And is it societal? Is it cultural? Is that just how things are nowadays? That we just carry on a conversation, a text conversation for 2 days that it takes to just answer a few questions? If that's how it's going to be in society, then you know what? Again, I don't fit in with society. If I respond back instantly, I expect your response to my response instantly. And if I don't get that, if you wait and you do that repeatedly, I'm done with your ass. I've got 2 friends right now. When they text me, I don't even open the message until at least 24 hours later. I'm going to break this behavior of them or run them off one. Now, I got another person. I wouldn't call this person a friend. More of an acquaintance, really. We've had some conversations. And he's older, he calls me. Pro Moderator calls me too. Like, Pro Moderator rarely texts. He's one of them people that's, he likes a phone call still. So he will call me, but I've broken him of it too. He only calls occasionally now, not every day like it used to be. He used to do it, I think, just to annoy me. But I got this other acquaintance. Oh, fish. Okay. Well, I thought he had it for real that time. It looked like he was going to take it over. But he did not. They better leave that bait alone. If they ain't going to eat it, I'm telling you, you better swat their hands like your granny used to do if you tried to get in a cookie jar without her permission. Just swat you one time. But anyway, this acquaintance, he will call me. I've had maybe 2 or 3 conversations with this person. In person once, and he got my phone number. And he called me again, and I remember having a conversation with him. Maybe him and I have actually spoken twice. And anyway, since then, there was a time a few months back he called me. I couldn't take the call, I was busy. But I called him back within 30 minutes probably, that first time. and he didn't pick up. And again, I understand, you know, it'd been about 30 minutes or so, give or take, and maybe he had moved on to other things and couldn't take the call. But we're getting hit on all these rods. They ain't doing nothing. They're just nipping. We're going through some small fish. But anyway, I called this guy back. He didn't pick up, so I sent him a message like, hey, sorry I missed your call. I'll be available the rest of the night. Call me back anytime. Now, what would you expect in that situation? You would expect he'd probably call me back at some point that night, right? Didn't call back again. Didn't hear from him for, I don't know, 2 or 3 months after that. So 2 or 3 months goes by. Again, phone call. Not text, not an email, phone call. Okay. Well, again, I'm busy. I can't take the call. But once again, a few minutes later, I finish what I'm doing. I try calling back. No answer. So again, I send a text message, say, hey, phone tag, you're it. No response. No return call, nothing. And again, the first time I'm annoyed, but I'll let it slide. When it happens twice, I got to draw the line. Because if you call me, first off, it better be important. Unless you're my mama, I'll sit there and chit chat with my mama because it's my mama. But anybody else, you better be calling me with a reason. And if that reason isn't important enough that you can't call me back again at all after I've tried calling you back, or even respond to the text, like the first time when I said, hey, sorry I missed your call, I'm available the rest of the night, whatever. You would think if it was an important call and if it was something that person really needed to talk about, maybe they were busy. Maybe they couldn't call me back, but at least send a message like, hey, sorry, I got this going on. Let me try to get with you tomorrow or something like that. No response. No response for 2 or 3 months until the next call. And then again, I miss it. Hey, phone tag, you're it. No response. Not a follow-up text, nothing. And I was like, you know what? This person's kind of an acquaintance. I don't consider them a friend. Be honest with you, I don't even really like them. I find their personality annoying. I was just trying to be nice. And I'm not answering any more phone calls from this person. Like when they call from now on, I don't give a damn if I'm busy or not. I'm not taking the call. I'm not sending a courtesy text. I'm done with them. I'm done. I'm not fooling with it. Again, it's just lack of courtesy. It's lack of respect. And again, it's 2024. If you don't have something important to talk about, don't make the call. Phone calls don't need to happen in 2000. I'm fine with having an in-person conversation with somebody. I don't like phone conversations. Unless it's something, hold on y'all, I'm snotting here. I gotta get me something to drink here. This change in the humidity, I think, I don't know, stirred up some dust or something, and I've been a little bit more nasally the last couple days. But anyhow, like if it's something important, if it's something business related, you know, if you got some life event going on and you need counsel or advice, sure, phone call it. If you're an actual friend and you know, you take like me and Daniel, for instance. He's been on my channel, so I'm owner of Catfish Gear. Him and I are friends, like actual friends. We've got a business deal with me using his gear on my videos and stuff. Like that's business related. But we're actual friends. We were friends before the business deal. We'll be friends after. Like we're actual friends. We don't live near each other. We're a couple hours away. And, you know, him and I, we fish together a little bit more this year, but there's often times we'll go several months where we don't get to fish together. And sometimes there's business stuff that needs to be talked about. So Has this one got it for real this time? Nope. Them dinks are tearing us up down there, man. We may have to reel up, run forward a few hundred yards, and then drop baits back down to get away from these small fish. If they keep pestering us, that's what we're gonna have to do. But anyway, you know, if Daniel and I, if we haven't been able to fish together in a few months, and there's stuff going on, business decisions that need to be made, stuff like that, we'll do a phone call. And that phone call might last an hour or more, because we'll finish the business stuff and then it's the, hey, how's life going kind of crap, you know. And I'm fine with that because it's an infrequent phone call. And when the phone call happens, we discuss everything that needs to be discussed and we're good for a while. So I'm totally fine with that. But what I don't like is chit-chat. If you're just going to chit-chat, first off, keep it to yourself because I'm not a chit-chatty person. But if you must do it via text and respond in a timely manner. And if you can't respond in a timely manner and you know you're going to be busy, well, don't wait till such a time occurs to actually message me. You know, like I just think it's a courtesy thing. And listen, I'm maybe old man yelling at the clouds with this situation. I may be this may be a pet peeve of mine that's just exclusive to me. I don't know. But it does piss me off. So again, I got two friends right now. When they text me, they're cut off. 24, 48 hour minimum before I'm going to even look at their message. And they'll either get better or they'll stop messaging me altogether. And I'm fine with that either way. And that other acquaintance, if he ever calls me again, hell with him. I ain't picking up, whether I'm busy or not, and I ain't responding. He's ruined the privilege. Look at this dead fish right here. That's a cat. Let's see what's going on with that. I don't see no marks on this side of him. He doesn't look particularly bloated. I don't know what got that one. I thought maybe it might have been a fish that somebody reeled up too quick or something, and he just wouldn't go back down, but he don't look like he's very bloated or anything. I don't know what the cause of death on that. We might see a takedown here on that rod, though. That's another dink. We got dinks pestering us right now. But anyway, y'all, tell me your thoughts on this whole text message thing. Because I'm so antisocial anyway, I may just be off. I may be way off base on this. Like I may be completely just on an island with this one, but that's where I'm at with it. And so, and listen, it ain't like I ain't told these people either. I'm like, look, if you can't respond back in a timely manner, don't text me. And then they do it again. I'm like, okay, put your ass on a delay. I don't care to sacrifice some friends because, hell, I ain't got time. I have time. I do have time. I don't make time for the friends that I got anyway. You know, like I like being left the hell alone. I hang out with my girlfriend, you know, usually 2 or 3 nights a week, her and I. We'll do something together. We either go out or, you know, I'll grill some steaks, we'll have movie night, something like that. But for the most part, I like being by myself. Like I like fishing by myself. I like being by myself. There's some people out there in this world, and I can't relate to them at all, that just have to be around people all the time. Like they've always got somebody with them, something going on. They're always at somebody's house. They've got people over to their house. I cannot relate to that one iota, not one bit. Like I just like being by myself. Like I'm perfectly comfortable being alone. You know, I mean, you need some human interaction time. Like you can't be alone 24/7, 365 days a year. You can't. Like you got to have some human interaction. We all need it, no matter how introverted we are. We need some human interaction. You put somebody in solitary confinement, they go crazy. That's been proven. Right? So we all need that human interaction on some level, but some people just need more of it than others. And I'm one of those people that just happens to need very little of it. So I don't even want to, this fish, you know, here's what we're going to do. Here's what we're going to do. Well, I hate to do that because we're coming up on an area right here I want to fish in front of. I was going to say, let's just run up a little bit. But you see this pocket back? Has this one got it now? I think this one might actually be hooked up on the head bait. We're coming up here. We've still got this flat over here to the left. But we've got a couple creeks or pockets or something that goes up in here. And I kind of want to fish by these, but we're just getting eat up with these dinks. And I'm like, should we make a move? Like just reel up our baits and go up a few hundred yards to get away from them? I don't know. I hate to pass up this area because it looks pretty good. I don't think I've ever fished this section of this ledge before. If I have, I don't recall. I know I've hit the other side, and I actually don't think I've hit the other side this far up. So we just out here exploring today. But this one here, this is why they ain't been getting hooked up. And I want you to look at this bait. I hope he leaves it on here so you can see what they've done to it. I bet we're gonna have to reel that other one in too, because I guarantee you it looks like this. Come on in. Look what they've done to this bait. There's gill plates. That's about all that's left. They've just destroyed it. Because we've just been getting nipped nonstop. They're not touching the damn suspended bait hardly. But boy, they're tearing up the dragon baits. There. You go down there and think about what you've done today. You tell your friends I'm sick of their asses too. Tearing up perfectly good baits. That thing is absolutely destroyed. We definitely got to switch that out. Here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to go ahead and just reel this one in too. I'm going to speed us up a little bit. And maybe we can get rid of, because it may be the same couple fish that just keep chasing along and taking a nip and then coming back and nipping again. So maybe if we can get far enough away from them, we can still drop baits down in time to fish in front of this little pocket up here, or creek, or whatever it is. This one actually don't look as bad as the head. We're still gonna switch it out though, because they've hit it enough times, they've probably squeezed some of the juices and oils out of it. We'll throw it down there, maybe they'll get distracted with that bait, and we'll get ahead of them and leave them behind. Sometimes them small fish will just terrorize you. Another white bass about to be cut up. Caught these white bass on the sumo spoons. Caught the skipjack on them spoons too. Normally I get my skipjack on jigs, but lately I can't catch anything on the jigs. I've been getting everything on spoons. Let's cut our fins here. fins too. There we go. All right. Y'all disregard the floor of my kayak. I know it needs to be cleaned. I've got dirt, I've got mold. It's looking rough, but as I've mentioned recently, I'm going to be probably moving on from this kayak here in the next month or so, assuming that new Bonafide kayak, assuming it comes out on time, and assuming that I actually like it when I get a look at it. That's probably what I'm going to end up doing. So this kayak, I would like to, I mean, I'll sell it, of course, but I would like to only have to clean it one more time. So I'll probably wait until I get it where I'm going to be ready to sell it and then clean it up, you know what I mean? I'm going to speed us up. I just want to put a little distance between us and them dinks. That's all I want to do, just a little distance. You see this? We had this little pocket right here, and this one over here. And I don't know if them are just little pockets or if they're creeks or what. I don't see anything on the graph. Sometimes if you get a creek that comes out, the creek will go through the old flat and dump out to what would have been, so like right here where we're at, this is the old river channel, right? Right here, this area. Before they made the reservoir and flooded all this flat up here to the left, that's mid-20s in depth, that would have been land. That would have been like old farmland and stuff. And so sometimes you'll have them old creeks that come out and they would have fed out into that old field that would have been there into the river out here. And depending on the depth of that creek, you will have like an old channel, like an old creek channel, and fish will sometimes follow those creeks all the way back, like it's a path for them. And so you'll catch fish occasionally out, just staged out kind of in front of those creeks if you find where they dumped out at onto the main channel. But yeah, I don't know. I don't see anything on the graph that would suggest that that's a creek. It may just be a little pocket. But either way, I was wanting to have some baits going down in front of it here. All right, let's start slowing ourselves down here now. We'll let our baits back out. Yeah, I wanted to come out here this morning and just cover a couple miles today. Because, you know, if you're moving half a mile an hour and you fish, say, 4 hours, well, hey, there's 2 miles. So you can cover a lot of water, and if we were to get on a pile of fish, if we was to see a big pile of fish, if we were just had every rod going down, we could spot lock for a little while. We could do that. But to this point, we've just kind of been a fish here, fish there type thing. So no real reason to stop or slow down. Half a mile an hour seems to be working well for us. We're getting bit at this speed. Okay, let's get our baits back out. Put that one out. Okay, let's let that one out. All right, hopefully we've put enough distance between us and those dinks that we can be left the hell alone. Just like the people who don't text back in a timely manner, we want them to leave us the hell alone. Same way with the fish. I'm gonna clean these old fins out here. Y'all don't clean up after yourselves. You're all the messiest people I know. Can't get you to do nothing. There we go. I feel better about it now. I can handle all the mold and the dirt, but I don't like the fins. Makes no damn sense, does it? Don't make a bit of sense. But yeah, y'all, I'm gonna get a different kayak. I'm gonna get a different kayak regardless this year. This one, I like this kayak. You know, I like the layout of it. I don't like that front hatch and the weight of that motor. It's just too much on choppy day. A day like today's perfect. You can do anything you want in this kayak. But you take this same area that we're out here on, this big wide open area. If we was trying to fish a day where the wind is 10 miles an hour, 15 miles an hour, and it's blowing up and down through here, hitting all this surface area, you would have a ton of chop. And you get all that chop, you get water over the bow, water goes over the bow, gets inside that big giant hatch up there. You got a world of problems. I damn near sank this thing a few months ago. And then the simple answer is, well, Justin, just don't fish on days where the wind is up or the conditions are bad. And I agree, but that's good logic that you're going to share with me. Absolutely. But here's the thing. If you travel somewhere, say you go on a trip, or you're fishing a tournament, you're kind of at the mercy of whatever's going on. Like, you just gonna, if you travel a few hours to fish somewhere and the wind's up a little bit, you're just not gonna fish. You've put the time to drive there, you've put the expense to go there, you're just gonna not fish? Of course not. If you got a tournament, you got tournament hours. It's 7 to 3, 7 to 2, whatever the hell the hours they are. If the wind's up, if the weather's bad, it just is what it is. You know, you just gotta make do. And I feel very limited in this kayak in choppy conditions, and I don't like feeling limited. The other thing too is all the guys on the tournament scene have gone to bigger motors, and I got to keep up with the Joneses, of course. And those bigger motors offer a couple advantages. The big disadvantage is the weight. They are heavier. That one there, I think, somewhere between 35 and 40 pounds. These bigger motors are, I'm gonna flip these bales over. Well, hell, we're barely moving again. I gotta get our speed set here. Bear with me as I get our speed going here again. We'll get it dialed in here directly. I sped us way up to move us along. Then I had to slow us down. There we go. Let me see where I'm gonna let it just a little more line. But you know, these bigger motors, they're heavier, so you're putting more weight on the bow. You gotta have a kayak that can support it. But they offer some advantages. One, they're more powerful, so they're faster. The other thing about going to a 24 volt or 36 volt is they're better on battery. So, you know, for me on this kayak here, to go 4.5 miles an hour on this kayak, I'm balls to the wall. I've got the thing maxed out, which means your battery dies very quickly. You're going through it. So normally, on a normal trip, I'm gonna back off it a little bit. Instead of 4.5 miles an hour, I'm gonna go 4 miles an hour. And that's gonna allow me to go longer on the battery. But if you're in a tournament situation and you gotta race somebody to a spot, and some of y'all that watch my tournament videos, you've seen me go through this. You make a run somewhere, not necessarily even on the water, but so our tournaments, normally our tournament hours are 7 to 3. And then we got a fish right here just like that. This is oh, he just come free. I hope we ain't got more dinks going on down there. But like our tournament hours will be 7 to 3. That's the time that we can have lines in. And then we'll have an hour to make it to our check-in location. So let's say we're fishing, pick a body of water. You can fish anywhere on the boundaries of that water, but your check-in location might be, If you're fishing one end and the check-in location's at the other, well, hell, you might be 30 minutes, an hour away. So you have to allow for that with your time on the water. And there's been places that I have fished where I've been so far away from the check-in that I might have to leave the tournament, the tournament there 30 minutes before line's out, an hour before line's out, just so that I can ensure that I make it back. Well, the faster your kayak can go on the water, the longer you're going to be able to fish in those situations, right? Like if your kayak's twice as fast, then you can make it back from wherever you're fishing at in half the time, essentially. So it just buys you a few more minutes. Now, do those few more minutes, do they add up to extra fish? Well, maybe not on one in particular day, but over the course of time, over the course of a season, if you can add an extra 5 minutes of fishing time, 10 minutes of fishing time to every trip, you do that over the course of time, I promise you, those minutes add up to hours, and those hours of extra time with lines in, you will catch more fish because of it. And so, for the tournament perspective, when you're competing and everybody else has better tools than you, you're kind of at a disadvantage. Now, there's part of me, and this is something I've gave strong consideration to doing. I've given real strong consideration to this. And I think there's some of you out there that would like to see me do this, just to prove a point. But I'm not sure it's a point I could prove. But I have considered, I'd thought about it coming into this tournament year, considering it again for next tournament season, of just fishing in my pedal kayak, pedals, no motor, basic graph, 2 rods, fishing the whole trail like that. Part of me wants to just prove a point that you don't need all the fancy gadgets to do it, to be able to compete well. Part of me wants to stick it to those guys. But there's also part of me that knows. And listen, if I go out there in my pedal kayak and 2 rods, basic graph, I'm probably not going to finish dead last. Okay, I mean, I've got enough confidence in myself and my abilities. Like, I don't think I'm going to finish dead last in any of those tournaments. But am I going to be competing for Angler of the Year? Am I going to be able to be competitive in every single tournament if my range is severely limited, being in the pedals versus having access to a motor? You know, if I'm using a physical anchor instead of spot lock, how much extra time does that cost me having to pull up my anchor before I can move locations? Move locations at a slower speed, of course, because I'm in the pedals instead of having a motor. And you're competing against guys who have all of these tools. But there is part of me that would like to do it just to see how I would stay. I wouldn't win Angler of the Year, I don't think. But I wouldn't finish dead last. And I don't even think I'd be down middle of the pack. I think I would be maybe upper third. And maybe I'm just arrogant. Maybe I'm overestimating myself. It's possible. Only one way to find out, and that's to do it. But there's also part of me that just wants to go in there and win. I don't want to be at a competitive disadvantage to anybody. And I see these guys, and I don't feel like I need 10 rods. A lot of these guys, they're pulling planer boards, and they got 8 and 10 rods out. I don't feel necessarily that I am at a competitive disadvantage to them because they're using more rods than I am. I don't subscribe to the more bait means more opportunities to catch fish. I don't necessarily subscribe to that. I think your baits need to be where the fish are. And if you've got your baits where they need to be, 2 rods is going to put you on enough fish to keep you busy. So if you've done your homework for a tournament and you've done your pre-fishing properly, you should be able to compete with 2 rods, even against guys who are maybe running 8 or 10. But where you do run into problems with those guys, and where the competitive disadvantage comes in, is situations like I mentioned where maybe I need to make a long run from my launch, and having a motor that gets me half the speed that they get causes me to have to leave the water significantly earlier than what they would have to. And that extra time maybe is the difference between cashing a check and not. And so, I'm back and forth on that all the time. I'm a walking contradiction, because on one hand, there's a big part of me that hates all this crap on the kayak. The live scope, the motor, the hassle, the needing a boat ramp to launch, the weight, just everything. It's just, and the fact you need such a big stable kayak to support the weight of all this crap. And the fact is, technology, stuff's always breaking. How many motors have I went through now? Between the Minn Kota on the last kayak, this is my second motor guide, I've went through a GPS module, 3 or 4 remotes. Something's always breaking. You know what's broke on my pedal kayak? Not a damn thing, because there's nothing to break. There's nothing. Your pedal drive's pretty much indestructible. Nobody has problems with the Old Town pedal drives. And even if you do, it's got a warranty on it, so they're going to take care of it under the warranty. And the kayak is an actual kayak size, which means if I did have a problem with my pedal drive, I could paddle it. You ain't paddling a kayak like this. That new Bonafide that's coming out, you ain't paddling it. Now, they'll tell you can. There'll be some blowhard marketing like, oh, it's a kayak because, yeah, you can paddle it. You ain't going to want to paddle that thing, especially if you're in any kind of wind or rough water. You ain't wanting to paddle that thing. I promise you ain't. It's a damn plastic John boat at that point. This Hobie's a large size kayak too, but hell, at least it's got a pedal slot. You can pedal the damn thing. It's still human powered to an extent. These kayaks are coming out with now, you got to have a motor to propel them, because you ain't paddling them and they ain't got pedals. So it's like, what's a kayak and what isn't anymore? And I don't really give a damn about that, honestly. When you get right down to it, what's a kayak and what's not, I don't care. It's just when you go and fish in a tournament situation and you are in a kayak and everybody else is in a plastic John boat, and I think we're going to get snagged right here in a minute. There's all kinds of this. The depth come up a little bit, and there's all kinds of debris right there, it looks like. I wouldn't be shocked if we don't get both lines snagged here in just a second. We're going to try to pull through it, though, and see what happens. But, if you're in a kayak and everybody else is in a plastic John boat, and they're able to handle rougher water and worse conditions than you are, well, again, it just goes, what's important to you? Are you wanting to prove a point? Red badge of courage, like, look at me, I'm a kayak fisherman and I'm fishing in a kayak, or do you want to go out there and win? And, if you're in a tournament, by God, you best want to win, because everybody else wants to win. And they're going to do what they have to do to win. So, for me, ultimately, I want 2 kayaks. I want my pedal kayak for my fun fishing trips, I call it. Not that I'm not having fun today, I am. But when I'm on a good suspend fishing bite, man, that pedal kayak I got, my Old Town big water kayak, it's like an actual kayak, as far as how narrow it is and just the feel of it. Like, it's lighter weight. It's way more fun catching big fish in that kayak than this one or some other big kayak that I'm going to end up getting. But if I do need to make a long run somewhere, if I'm going to fish a tournament and it's going to be real choppy conditions, I need the extra speed, whatever reason, I want to have both. And this kayak here, my Hobie, it's limited with that damn front hatch. And the fact that I can't have a 360 seat on here. Like, I want to be able to fish off the back of the kayak. You know, with us dragging baits today, I'd like to have these rods behind me, and I'd like to be facing the rods, and sure enough, we're hung. I told you we was going to get hung going through that mess. It looked nasty. It looked extremely rough. Okay, we come through it right then. Gave myself a little slack and lifted up. Hopefully it's going to keep pulling through. We're still going through a rough area right here. So far, so good. We are coming up. Oh, I'm about to be snagged again. Damn it, come on. Don't do this to me now. Because we're coming up on an area here I think we might have some fish. Okay. Knock on wood, the other one's coming through it okay. This one here is just having trouble. But you see up right here, you see Major Creek Bed, and you see that old channel there on the map where it come out here through that flat? Oh hell, this one's hung now. I was just bragging on it, now it's hung. A lot of debris right there. Okay, we got lucky again here. We got through it. Let me see if I can show you this on the map. So anyway, again, got that old creek channel. Comes from up there, okay? God damn. Come on, pull through. Okay, pulled through at that time. Oftentimes, fish, as they come out of the main channel, they'll follow that old creek bed up in there to the shallows to feed. And sometimes you'll find fish just kind of sitting out here off the end of it. When they retreat back out off that flat or out of that creek, they'll just be hanging out there. That's a good place right there. If you wanted to anchor or spot lock, whatever, and sit there, you'll get fish coming up and down the channel this way, just on their normal path swimming along, and you'll get fish coming in and out of that creek. And sometimes, like I said, they'll just kind of sit there. So that's a good spot to potentially put some time into. Now, I don't know how much bait stays up in there or anything, but it would definitely be a spot, like that type of spot to look for if you were looking for anchor spots. That would definitely be the type of place that I could see some fish being caught at. Spring and fall especially, places like that. And we're still coming through that stuff. It was just it was like a debris field down there. I was seeing all kinds of, I don't know what it was. I assume wood probably. But it was, stuff just stacked up there for some reason. You can see that ain't the fish, like that's just us. That's that sinker catching on stuff as we're coming over it. Hopefully, so far so good. We've gotten, I knew when I saw it we were going to have difficulty pulling through that. So far so good. We done had our snag we had to go back for and break off today. That's enough. One a day is too many as it is. But I also don't want to reel up right now either when we're this close to this creek up here, creek mouth. We're just gonna have to keep an eye on these things till we get through it. It's smooth right here now where we're at. We got our lines far enough behind us still. I don't think we've got to that point yet where it kind of levels out. Kind of surprised with all that debris. Our suspend rig's obviously right above it. I thought maybe that much stuff in there might be a flathead hanging out, but no such luck this time. So, anyway, y'all, bottom line is, I want 2 kayaks. I want one very basic that I can go out when I'm on my suspend bite and just have my fun, have the most amount of fun possible. I want another one that's rigged just balls to the wall, man. Every bell and whistle. That way, when I show up, I'm not at a competitive disadvantage to anybody. And so, and honestly, I don't even care how much it costs. You know, I guarantee you when I rig this next kayak out, because when I rigged this one out, I was hearing all kinds of chatter, people in the comment boxes and social media, like, oh, you spent all that damn money on a kayak, you could just bought a boat. I don't want no damn boat. And I've went on that topic before, comparing a top-of-the-line new kayak to a 1985 model John boat, and it's an apples and oranges comparison. If you want to buy a used kayak that's several years old, basic bells and whistles, I mean, no bells and whistles, just very basic, you can get one for $400 or $500. Compare that to your 1985 model John boat. If you want to compare top-of-the-line boat, get your Sea Ark that's, I don't know how much, $50,000, $75,000 fully rigged, and compare that to your kayak that's going to be $8,000, $10,000 fully rigged. You know, big price difference. That's more apples to apples situation than what they try to do. But anyway, I don't even really, and I took a lot of flack for this kayak, how much it cost, but really I bought this kayak used, and it came with accessories, which I sold, so I got $2,100 in the whole of this thing. So my whole rig here is probably, I don't know, 5,000-ish, give or take. I'll sell this kayak. I mean, the Hobie, it's still got value in it. So I'll probably get somewhere between $2,000 and $2,500 for it. I'll get my money. I got such a good deal on it, and I got it, and Hobie has went up in price so much since I got it. I'll get my money back out of this thing. So I'm not going to take a hit on the hull itself. I'll take a hit on the motor when I sell it. Few $100, but you know, everything, selling this entire package here, I'll take less than $1,000 loss on it. And you figure, what if I had this thing now? I bought this kayak in 2019, so 5 years I've had this particular kayak. Like 5 years, you take less than $1,000 loss, like that's pretty damn good, okay? Do that with your 1985 John boat. Sure, maybe you buy it for $1,500 and 5 years later you sell it for $1,500. But how much gas did you put in it? How much motor maintenance did you do? You know, like you're putting a lot of money into it every time you get in a boat. The kayak, not so much. But anyway, I'm off on another soapbox here. I don't want to do that soapbox again. I just done it recently. But the point is, like, this next kayak build's going to be expensive. But I really don't care how much it costs, and here's why. Because these damn guys I'm fishing against in tournaments, they've paid for it. And I'm talking a little smack right now, but it's the damn truth. I've beat them guys like a drum this year. And so I've won enough money in the tournaments this year, and especially if you factor in what I won last year too, profit-wise, to not only cover my expenses of going to the tournaments with entry fees and gas and hotel and stuff. I've covered all that, but still got enough profit left over that these fellas that I'm fishing against have basically, they're financing my next rig. Like, it don't matter. So I'm gonna get me the kayak I want with the motor I want and rig it out how I want, and I'm gonna do it on their dime. Because that's truly how it is. So I know there'll be people in my comment box, but I can't believe you spent however much hell money it turns out to be. But again, I don't really care, because this tournament money, my tournament profits, like, it's not money I count on. You know, it's just, for me, it's just spending money. It's just extra. I don't count that. I don't go into a tournament thinking, well, gosh, I sure hope I win today, or else I'm not going to be able to pay my electric bill. You know, I don't look at it like that. The tournament aspect of fishing to me is it's just a hobby. If I win, or if I win money, awesome. If I don't, well, you know, that's just part of it. So I don't count on that money, and because I don't count on it, it's just extra money for me. And I've been fortunate to do well, and you better believe these guys I fish against, I let them know every time I see one of them or talk one of them just how well I've done against them. I love to talk trash, you know, I love to run my mouth. I let them know that their entry fees is helping finance my next kayak. So whatever I end up getting, I'm going to rig it out, man. And I don't know what I'm going to get for sure. I'm thinking probably that Bonafide, although I want to see it in person. Bonafide done such a poor job of launching that kayak. Their videos they made with that thing, whoever was behind the video launch where they had that guy standing behind the kayak so that it made it look even bigger than it is, like, that person's an idiot. They have no business making videos. That fish tugs a little bit. Like they just the optical illusion of that guy standing behind the boat with the camera here, it was so stupid. Like, everybody's like, man, that thing's, it looks like a damn yacht, the way the way they set up that video. And so I hope they put more thought and effort into the design and build of the kayak than they did the video where they launched it, because they really doo-dooed the bed on that video. But I would like to see this thing in person. And if it looks okay and the build looks okay, there's always some concern with me. And I don't care if this is kayaks, if it's anything in life. When something is brand new, a brand new model of something, first edition, you oftentimes have problems. And it'll be and it ain't like the companies aren't testing things. They're doing their due diligence. They've got their quality control measures in place, but there's just things about products that you're not necessarily going to find out about until it gets in the hands of the masses. And people are using them in different ways and trying different things. And then you start find out, like, oh, well, maybe this part of the kayak hull should be a little stronger. We should reinforce it here because we're getting cracks or this or that or the other. You know what I mean? Like, and it's like that across the board with all products. It's not just kayaks. So I definitely have a little bit of a concern with this thing being brand new first edition, that there might be some problems with it. And I have no doubt that Bonafide would honor warranties if there was a problem. I have no fear of that whatsoever. They're a pretty upstanding company from what I understand. I've never had a Bonafide. I tried one out one time. That first one they come out with, I did a demo paddle of it. But I've never owned one, and I don't have any dealings with the company. I don't have any connections with the company. But just from seeing the company for a few years and hearing the chatter within the industry, I'm pretty plugged in to what's going on. Okay, now this is a better one here. Better takedown at least. Maybe we got one actually hooked up. I feel like we're going through a dry spell here. We got through all that debris, didn't catch a damn thing, but a couple snags. And now we're up here in front of this creek. We're actually right now, we're almost in front of where that old creek come out. So our baits will be here in front of it here another minute or so probably. Or that other one will. Oh, and he just come free. I felt him just let it go. Let's make sure this bait still looks good, and then I'm gonna get it dropped back down. Yep, it still looks okay. I don't know what was up. Back down it goes. Yeah, that right there, that's where that creek comes in at, and we're kind of almost at the mouth of where it would have been right here. This is where it would have fed out. So I'm not seeing anything here on the graph right now fish-wise, but again, there could be some fish kind of around in this area staged out in front of it, potentially. That happens sometimes, so we'll see. Either way, though, we're going to just keep on this, we're going to keep following this ledge on up through here. We're just going to keep going with it, you know, just keep rolling, see what we run into. But yeah, Bonafide, like, I've not heard anything. I've not heard anybody having problems with getting things warranted, or they seem to be a pretty quality kayak as far as the build goes. But first editions always scare me regardless. And I don't have time to be, you know, with me doing this YouTube crap, like, if it takes me a month to get a replacement hull, if there is a problem with it, like, that's a big issue for me. Like, I don't have that kind of, I can't take a month off. I mean, I've got my other kayak, of course, and I could use it, but, like, you know, if you've got a tournament coming up, if you've, If you've got areas you need to fish that are a long distance from the launch and you need access, you know what I mean? Like you need, for me doing this YouTube crap kind of full time, like I need my gear readily available when I need it. I don't have time to dick around. And so if you do have if you take a chance on a brand new product and you have a problem with it and it takes a month to get a resolution, that's a problem. You know, I ran into that there, what was it, 2020, I think it was. I think it was 2020 when the Old Town Autopilot come out. And you look, Old Town, of the kayak companies that are out there, I would venture to say Old Town probably has the best reputation in the industry. I mean, they have the lifetime warranty on their hulls, their pedal drives, 5-year warranty, their customer service, it's in America. You call them, you get an actual American on the phone when you call. So their customer service is top notch. But when I had that autopilot, the very first day I had it, the motor tore up. GPS went out. So I had to warranty it. And to their credit, like the turnaround time for that was pretty quick. I had a new motor within like, I don't know, 7 to 10 days or so. Like it was pretty quick. And then I had a few months after that, the replacement motor, I had a problem with it. The steering went out on it. Whatever that motor that steers it, it just wouldn't work. And so I had another warranty. But again, you know, 7 to 10 days, I've got a replacement motor. So excellent customer service, excellent with their warranty, but when it tears up, guess what? 7 to 10 days, I'm out. You know, I don't have a piece of gear that I need, and so that's my fear. You know, it's just my fear of getting something that's a brand new model. But I think this kayak's probably going to be. It's definitely got the weight capacity to handle the heavier motor that I'm going to get, and the heavier battery that I'm going to need, plus just my normal bait coolers and such. I mean, I pack a lot of weight on these things on a fully rigged one. Now, my Old Town pedal kayak, I don't have much weight because I'm carrying 2 rods, I'm carrying a smaller cooler. I don't carry a ton of gear in that thing. No motor, no batteries, stuff like that. So I don't put a lot of weight in it. But in like this kayak, you got the motor, you got the battery, you got your graph, you got your live scope, the black box they call it, whatever the processor is, that weighs a few pounds. Your battery for it. I got my big bait cooler here in the back, plus my gear. Like, you know, there's a lot of weight in this thing, and so you need a higher weight capacity kayak to support all of that. And that Bonafide's definitely, I think it's like 700 pound capacity. And the front of it is made for a bow mount motor. Like they've put thought into the design of that. So I like that. So I'm probably going to go with it if it looks okay when it comes out. It's supposed to come out sometime in September. That was what their website said last I looked. I don't know when in September, and sometimes these companies have delays and whatnot, so who knows? Hopefully by October, I will have at least gotten to see one of these kayaks in person somewhere. We got a dealer for them about 30 minutes from my house, so I'm hoping they get some of those kayaks in on the first shipment, I hope. To my knowledge, nobody in my area has pre-ordered any. I didn't want to pre-order it because I want to see the damn thing first, you know? Like I'd like to ideally be able to take it out and try it, but that won't be possible. I'm just going to have to hope for the best with that, but I definitely want to see it and feel it. Just not make sure I don't feel any weak spots anywhere that I think might be a problem. Now, the other thing with this new kayak, and this is actually going to be, the kayak itself, it's like $2,800. So it's cheaper than a pedal kayak, but still more expensive than a paddle kayak. But the big expense is going to be the motor, because I am going to put a larger motor. I'm not going with the larger motor guide because I'm sick of motor guide. They're garbage quality. You know, again, this is my second one as far as the motor goes. GPS went out on the last one, and I've went through multiple remotes. The thing is garbage quality. And the 24 volt version is the same exact motor, same exact remote, just 24 volt instead of the 12. So you're going to have the same problems with it. I don't want to, if it's the devil you know, but I would take my chances with the devil I don't know at this point. So I'm done with motor guide after this, unless they come out with a better quality model. And this, we got nipped in front of that creek, but we got the tug and not the rub. You need the rub and the tug to complete it, fish. Come on, eat that thing. He's just chewing on it. We've been getting lit up with dinks up through here. Just chewing up our baits the whole way. But yeah, so no more motor guide for me until such a time they come out with a better motor and a better remote. The other thing I don't want is a Minn Kota. Because like I mentioned there with the Old Town Autopilot, it had a Minn Kota motor. And I had 2 warranty claims within the first year on it. So I don't want it either. So the 2 options I'm looking at right now, one of them is the Garmin Kraken motor. It's a 36 volt, which I do want. I think that motor can run 24 or 36 volt. But I would run at 36 volt, just get a smaller 36 volt lithium battery. So that way you get the full maximum thrust. Those motors, the Garmin and the Power Pole, you get 100 pound thrust on 36 volt, 80 pound on 24 volt. Oh, the suspend rod got hit. Oh, okay, there it goes. He got it thin. He got it thin. Oh my gosh, we're snake bitten, y'all. You let it go. These fish are just, it looks good. It still hooked good, no problems. We're just having trouble here all of a sudden. I don't know what's up with that. It's 2 in a row it's been like that. Hold on, who the hell's called me? Spammer. They can just sit there and buzz. That's another one I'm sick of calling. In addition to the people who don't text back in a timely manner, I'm tired of the spammers calling too. All the damn time. I'm on that do not call list and they still call me every day. But the motors, yeah, so 24 or 36 volt. You get either 80 pound thrust, 100 pound. I want the maximum amount of thrust, obviously. So I'm gonna get a smaller 36 volt lithium battery and power it with. And the weight of these lithiums have come down so much. I was looking at that Amped Outdoors 60 amp hour 36 volt battery. It weighs like 39 pounds. I've got a Epoch or Epic, I don't know how you say it, 100 amp hour 12 volt battery in that hatch there that I believe is 29 pounds. So you're adding 10 extra pounds is all. So pretty incredible that the lithium battery weights have come down so much. But anyway, I want that maximum amount of thrust, so I'm gonna get 36 volt battery. What I don't know what I want is whether I want the Garmin or the Power Pole. Initially, I was sold on the Power Pole motor because it was supposedly going to be weighing around 30 some odd pounds. That's what their video at ICAST said. Well, now that it's actually available on their website, guess what? It ain't 30 something pounds, it's 53 pounds, which is the same weight as the Garmin Kraken. So they're both the same weight. They got the same power. The main difference is the price. The power pole one. Is this a fish? Yep. He didn't get it though. Boy, we're just getting eat up with these small fish right here. We just can't get away from them. Y'all need to get these fish, get them to cooperate now. We done told them twice. Leave these baits alone if you ain't gonna eat the hook too. It's getting a little bit out of control now. But the main difference between these two motors is the price. Power pole one's $1,000 more. Actually, I think it's more like $1,200, $1,300 more. Now, the power pole motor, you do get 2 remotes instead of 1. From looking at the remotes, I think I like the power pole one better than the Garmin. The Garmin's awful big. The Garmin remote floats, nice perk. But the power pole one, you get 2, and it has a rechargeable battery, so you don't ever have to worry about changing batteries. It's just always charged for you. Put it on the charger. That's nice. The power pole motor is silent. Like that motor up there, when you steer it, makes a noise. That motor makes a noise. The power pole one is, I mean, from the videos I've seen, it's completely silent. And so days where I am spot locked and you got no current and the kayak's making the motor's making a lot of adjustments, it would be very nice having a motor that was silent. Like that steering sound first thing in the morning when it's super quiet out and it's making a lot of adjustments like that, I'm annoyed by that sound. I'm not as annoyed by the Motor Guide as I was by the Minn Kota, but nevertheless, the power pole one, completely silent. The advantage to the Garmin though, in addition to the price, is it will link with the fish finder that I currently have here. So that's helpful. So there's pros and cons to each of them. I'm going to do some more research and try to figure out. I don't know why the power pole one is so much more expensive than every other trolling motor on the market. I don't get it. Like they're trying to say they're a premium product and whatnot. Maybe they are. They said that about their anchor systems too, and yet I had 2 warranty claims on those damn things in the first year. Now they were great to work with. Customer service wise, they took care of me very quickly, very easily. And I would hope it would be that way if I had a problem with the trolling motor too. But, you know, I don't know. With Garmin, I don't know. I think that both of them have 3-year warranties. But I don't know. I've never had to use Garmin's customer service. I don't know what it's like. But yeah, I'm definitely down to those 2 motor options. Just don't know which one I'm going to go with. Both, again, same weight. The Garmin unit 45-inch shaft is the shortest one you can get. The power pole is making a kayak version now, 36-inch shaft. So I wouldn't have to cut down the power pole unit, which I probably wouldn't on the Garmin unit. It's like, so my Motor Guide up here is a 36-inch shaft. And you can see, hopefully there, you can see how far it sticks up, basically. If I got the Garmin unit, it would pretty much be a foot taller when you get right down to it, right? So imagine that motor a foot taller. Not a big deal, but if you're bass fishing, if you're ultralight fishing or something, and you don't want a huge motor shaft sticking up there in front of you if you need to cast that way. So I don't know. That's going to be a decision that gets made here at some point soon. And both of those motors at 53 pounds, if I figure out which one I want, I could probably go ahead and get it before I get the kayak and put it on here, because I swear, fish, if you don't hook up this time, he ain't hooking up this time. I've got that motor and the battery in that front hatch. That's a lot of weight. If I take that battery out and just have the, okay, by gosh, I think this one, I spoke too soon. I thought he had it, and he didn't. Just getting chewed up, man. But the weight of the new motor would be less than the weight I currently have on the bow of this kayak. Between the motor and the battery in that hatch, the new motor would weigh less than both of those. So if I put the 36-volt battery behind me here with my cooler, I could at least try out the new motor on this kayak. If it took a while to get the new kayak in stock or something, if they had a shipping delay, or maybe I just didn't like it, you know. I don't know, for whatever reason I didn't end up getting it in a timely manner. I could still use the new motor in the meantime, on days like today where it's calm. Certainly wouldn't want to go out with it on a choppy day, because I don't want to go out with that motor on a choppy day. Same problems, you know. So it's kind of where I'm at with it, but probably going to end up in something different here very soon, within the next couple months, I suspect. This kayak has served me well. Caught a lot of fish in it. Won some tournaments in it. But we're just at a point where I'm tired of that front hatch. I'm tired of that front hatch in a big way. So I'll get this thing stripped down. Whenever the time comes, I'll probably sell this kayak. I mean, I will sell it, but I'll probably part it out. You know, strip the kayak down, take the motor off, put the rod tubes back in. Like years ago, I took out the rod tubes, because it had the internal rod storage here. I took them out and put them plates I made over that part to cover it up and silicone them. That way you don't get water in there, because with the rod tubes you were getting water inside the hull. That was another way, as this rod here gets hit again. Dang fish. You was getting water in there, so I sealed all that off, plus taking the tubes out, opened up that front hatch more, had so much more space, so then I could get my battery for the trolling motor up in there. But probably what I'll do is just take the motor off, put the rod tubes back in, try to sell the kayak to a bass fisherman, because they're going to be more likely to buy it. And again, I should get my money back, maybe even profit on the hull itself. With me only having 2,100 in the hull, I should easily get that. I should get somewhere between 2,000 and 2,500, I suspect. And then sell the motor separately, a few $100. And so I will definitely, when it's said and done, between the motor and this kayak, I will have enough money from the sale of this to pay for whatever new kayak I get. So the only money I'm really out of pocket on is the motor and the battery. And I mean, again, I've beat these guys like a drum in the damn tournament scene. Like this fish here keeps beating me like a drum by not hooking up. They're shredding them baits down there, man. Here's what we're going to do. We're about to make a change here, because these dinks have eat us up the whole way up through here. We're coming up on what looks like another old creek channel right here. You see how this one come out? We're down here and we're heading up right here, which I assume is this one back in here. Let's fish our way up to where our baits go past this creek. And I think at that point, we're going to need to rebait, because we've been chewed up so much. We'll reel up, rebait. While we're cutting our baits, I'm going to run to the other side of the channel, and we'll start working our way down it as we go across. I think by the time I get our next baits cut up and on the hook, we can probably make it to the other side of the channel, so we won't have very much downtime as we go over there. And we'll just start working our way back toward the car. Because I mean, like then, I mean, it was another one. We're getting musical rods here. Both rods are just chewing us up, but they're not hooking up. So it's got to be small fish. And even though that white bass is a tough bait, they keep sitting in there chewing on it. It's just not going to last. We're just, for whatever reason, we're going through a stretch of small fish. Maybe this is why I don't ever fish this area. It's not encouraging me to come back and fish it again anytime soon, I'll tell you that. It hasn't showed me enough today. We got that one pretty good fish, got that other fun sizer. Few fish today. You know, it's not been a terrible day by any stretch. We've gotten some fish for the time that we've been out here. But this last hour or so, the small fish have just been terrorizing us. And it could be time of day too. I mean, it is a bright sunny day, lower humidity, so there's more of that sun coming down. The water's fairly clear here, so we could be just getting to that point in the day where the bite starts to slow down a little bit. It oftentimes happens. You get a feeding window in the morning and then it tapers off, and so we might have got to that point. But the small fish, though, they're still hungry. Has that one actually got it? I think that one there may actually be, I may have spoke too soon. I spoke too soon. You know what? Hell with it. Because here's the thing. Even if there is fish up here around this creek mouth, old creek mouth, our baits are going to be in such piss poor condition when they pull by it, they ain't going to be interested in it. Well, let's just reel up now. We'll cut our baits as the kayak takes us over to the other side of the channel, and we'll start fishing our way back toward the car. I ain't fooling with these damn small fish. We're out here to catch a whopper today. Y'all want to see a whopper caught. Everybody wants to see a whopper caught. Well, let's go over the other side and see if there's a whopper over there. Can't be any less whoppers on that side than there are this side. Probably cut up another white bass section there for that front rod too, the suspended bait. It ain't really been messed with, but it's been long enough now. Yeah, look at this. Look at this head bait, what they've done to it. They've just, these dang small fish, buddy, they just terrorize you. Okay. Let's get us headed this way. And I'm gonna push the heading button and let that thing drive for us while I get back here and get us some baits going. See, that right there is another one of them features of having a motor that allows you to be a little bit more efficient on the water. Like for a tournament purpose, when you can be changing spots while you cut your bait up and all that, like that's another one of those things. If I was to go and give it the college try, compete for a whole year with the pedal kayak, that's one of them things I'm going to lose out on. I think if I did that, here's what I think my strategy would be, honestly. And folks, you know how I am. I can be impulsive at times. Even if I get this new kayak and rig it out to the max, it's possible I get a wild hair and still next year end up doing the damn whole season in the pedal kayak. It's very possible. You know how I am. Somebody might piss me off or say the wrong thing, and motivate me to do it. You know what I mean? Like, that's just how it is. But I think if I did do that, I would probably anchor fish every tournament. Even if maybe that wasn't the best strategy for the particular tournament or the particular day, it would allow me to spend the most time with baits in the water. And I think that's probably what I would do. And you know, anchor fishing is a good... Anchor fishing has probably been responsible for more trophy catfish caught than any other technique throughout the history of time. And you know, and part of that's because more people anchor fish when they catfish than anything else. Even bank fishing is kind of anchor fishing, right? Like, you're casting your baits out and it's sitting there. So it's a productive technique. It's just there's times when it's not the most productive technique. But I think that's what I would do if I was going to fish in my pedal kayak, basic setup, 2 rods, compete on the tournament trail. I would pick spots that I felt like I had a chance of fish working through at some point in that 8-hour tournament window that we had. And I would put in all 8 hours on that spot. And that's probably how I would roll with it every tournament. And if I was right, I would do well. And if I was wrong, we would have a very poor finish. But I think over the course of the season, again, I don't think I would be competing for Angler of the Year, but I don't think I would be finishing dead last either. I think I would be in the upper third. And that ain't nothing, you know, that's not a bad thing, you know, be in the upper third. It's just, I want to win, by gosh. That's what it comes down to. When you get right down to it, it's like, I want to win. A normal fishing trip, I want to focus more on fun. Tournament trip, it's more about doing what you got to do. All right, well, we got everything baited. Got our new baits cut, and what do you know? We're just about over here. Let's start slowing down. Let me show you here on the graph what we're going to do here. Let me get a spun. We're going to fish the exact same way. We're just going to work this ledge. Again, you've got a big deep flat over here, 20 some odd feet. That would have been fields, farmland, whatever, before they made the reservoir and everything got flooded. That would have been the old riverbank, essentially. It drops off to what would have been the original river channel here. And we're just going to follow it down through here. I'm going to get our speed back down and get our course heading set. And we'll start letting out these lines and we'll just work our way back toward the car. I ain't going to fish the whole way back to the car because I'm hot already, and we're going to skedaddle here another 30 minutes or so. We can't do any worse with the dinks over here than what we're doing on the other side of the channel. You know what I mean? Like, we're just getting eat up over there. Our baits, even if we're going to come across a big fish, our baits are in such rough shape over there. By the time they get to that big fish, what motivation are they going to have to eat it? So I would rather just take our chances over here. Same concept. I mean, we're doing the same thing. We're trying to run into fish on a ledge. So, now this area here, I know I've fished this side of the ledge numerous times, because when you go down to the right, it makes a bend, and I've fished that bend a lot. I don't know that I have fished up this far, though. before on this ledge. So if I have, I don't remember it. That bail over. Let's give this a little bit more. Let's let out just a little bit more on this one. All right. Yeah, now I do think it would be fun though to fish the entire season in my pedal. Boy, it would sure make traveling easier. You know what I mean? Like not having to carry batteries in and stuff, just to be able to go out and fish and not have to carry, well, we're already getting hit on that suspender rod up there, not having to carry in batteries to the hotel and all that crap, you know. It'd make life a lot easier from that aspect of it. And being in the pedal kayak, I could launch anywhere. Wouldn't just be limited to boat ramps like I am in a monstrosity like this thing. But I do think it would, I think I could be competitive in every tournament, but I want to be in contention in every tournament. I don't want to just be competitive. I want to be in contention in every tournament. So anyway, that's my thoughts on that. So in the next couple of months, probably going to see me in a new kayak. I'll probably have a new motor maybe before then. If I go, and maybe some of y'all know this, I didn't even see that boat over there. Was he over there the whole time? Did we pass him? Have I just been flapping my gums, having a conversation with you and myself and didn't even notice them? They probably heard one hell of a show, didn't they? Some of y'all may know this. I don't understand it. On PowerPole's website, you look at those motors. There's two prices. There is the local dealer price, and then there's the PowerPole direct price. If you buy directly from PowerPole, you pay more money. It's like $100 more. Why the hell is that? Now, is it like an incentive? They want you to go buy from a local dealer? I'm not opposed to that. But you would think buying directly from the website would be where you should get the deal, right? Because you're cutting out the middleman. So you'd think it'd be cheaper with that. Now, if you buy locally, obviously you're going to pay sales tax, which in Tennessee here is 9 to 9 1/4, depending on where you're at. So it's a high sales tax. Sometimes online, depending on the particular website, you may be able to avoid sales tax, which with these motors being as expensive as they are, it would be, you'd save a few $100, you know. That's a nice savings. I don't know. I think I ordered my PowerPole anchor poles that I use when I'm carp fishing. I'm pretty sure I ordered them directly from PowerPole. Pretty sure I did, but I can't remember if I had to pay tax or not. It's been 2 or 3 years since I had them. That's another thing too, by the way. So with the PowerPole motor, the remote, it doesn't just operate the remote. If you've got PowerPole anchor poles like I do when I'm carp fishing, that same remote will operate them also, which is a nice feature. I don't know that I would use it because I don't use the remotes for those now. I just push the button on them because I put them on the sides here where I can reach them. But it's nice to have nonetheless. And, you know, the Garmin unit being able to hook up with this graph is nice. That's very nice. You can, in theory, be able to plot a course. So instead of us, like right now, I'm using the course heading on this GPS feature of the motor, right? It points you in a straight line. And then as our direction needs to change, this fish needs to change directions here, he better eat that thing. Don't toy with it, fish. We just moved because fish were toying. He's toying with it. Out here today though, not a big deal because we've been on a straight line pretty much with these ledges. And so we can just kind of make incremental changes right and left as we need to keep us going the direction we want on this break line. But let's say you were fishing an area that maybe this ledge had some more features to it and you were kind of going in and out. We would be making a lot of changes with the remote with this motor, but in theory, if you had your chart connected to the motor, like you can do with the Garmin motor and this unit, you could sit here and plot a course, make your waypoints, plot a course, and have that motor just drive for you without you having to make corrections. Now, the power pole version doesn't connect with the graph that I have. They have a way to link Lowrance motor or Lowrance graphs, but what they do have is a deal with ProNav, which ProNav is they made a kind of like a little dongle that could connect to certain non-GPS motors that would allow them to allow you to basically turn a non-GPS motor into a GPS motor. And it would give you the spot lock and course heading and the ability to set routes and all of that stuff through ProNav and their app. And apparently, if you get the power pole motor, it comes with ProNav ability. So you just open up your phone, their map card, and be able to plot your course and how fast you want to go along that course and have the motor drive for you that way. I don't know the accuracy of it. I've never tried a ProNav unit. I had spoken with them many years ago, very early on in my YouTube channel. And if I remember correctly, they were wanting to send me a motor with their dongle unit. And I was going to feature it on my channel, and then if I liked it, I would have the option to buy the motor at a discount. And I said, thanks, but no thanks. Now, my channel was much smaller back then. They might be willing to work a better deal now or something, but I thought that was a pretty crummy deal. If you ain't going to give me the motor, you want to give me a discount on it? Come on. And for all the advertisement I was going to do, no way. I'd just rather pay cash for something and not have to fool with it. So, I don't know, because I never used it, I don't know how accurate it is as far as their mapping and stuff like that. But having the ability to set your course on a day where, like today, where we're just covering a big section of ledge, if it had a lot of features, or if you had a day where the wind was being an issue, being able to plot that course would be very helpful. Now, the Old Town autopilot kayak I had with the Minn Kota, it had the ability to plot a course through the remote. You would drive the course you wanted to go while recording the route, and then you could go into the remote and choose to either follow that route again from the start, or you could go from where you stopped and go back to the beginning. Very helpful to be able to do that, because you would spend so much time mapping an area. Going forward, you'd obviously want to fish your way back, because then you'd have to loop around. It'd take forever in the kayak, you know what I mean? That was a pretty cool feature. The problem with that Minn Kota is about every week, every 2 weeks, the damn remote would just randomly do a factory reset on itself. So any routes that you saved, you would lose them. It was one of them glitches with it that I absolutely hated. Now, this motor guide has the ability to record a route. I think, if memory serves me, I think I have to push this play button right here, basically what it looks like, and it'll start recording, and that would be the stop. But you can see this remote has no display. It's very basic, and you can only drive the routes forward, to my knowledge. And so it would just be, because you're in a kayak and you are going so slow, like if you were wanting to, you take out here, we're going to say we're fishing 2 miles today of this ledge. If we went out here and run this route first thing this morning, run 2 miles down this ledge that we wanted to plot a course, and then had to go all the way back to the start of it again before we could start fishing, you know how much time that would take? It would take forever. It just wouldn't be efficient. So being able to plot it on your graph before you even start, and then just pushing a button and letting it go at whatever speed you've set, much more helpful with that. One of the things I'm wanting to research, and I haven't been able to figure this out yet, is apparently the Garmin motor has the ability to connect to your graph wirelessly. And I don't know what that means. Does that mean just wirelessly for your chart where you can plot stuff, plot your routes? Does that mean if it's got the transducer in the motor unit itself that it will put it on the screen like the fish finder part of it, that it will show that wirelessly without having to plug a wire into the motor? Like, that's pretty cool if it can. I don't know if that's true or not though. I don't know. I gotta figure that out. I don't personally know anybody that has a Garmin motor. That's the problem. I don't know, the power pole motor just come out, at least the kayak version of it. I don't know anybody that has the Garmin yet. They've been out a while, but all the guys in the kayak catfishing scene, the tournament scene, the ones who have went to the 24-volt motors, they've all went the motor guide route. Daniel down there, Catfish Sumo, he just got his new kayak there last month. He got that native Titan X, and he put a 24-volt motor on it. Went with the damn motor guide. And I refuse to go with that motor again. I've just had too many daggone problems with it. I'm not getting a more expensive, bigger version of the same problems I've already had. They've ruined it. They've burned me. Now, if they want to come out with a new model at some point in the future, and it looks to be better quality, if they claim it has better quality, maybe I will give them a chance then. But that XI3 model, I'm done with it. When me and this kayak and that motor part ways, like, I'm done with motor guide until such a time that they do better. I've had all I can take of them. It's so damn frustrating. Again, you know, and it would be frustrating regardless. But when you're doing this YouTube crap full time, I need my gear to work. I need stuff. It ain't no different than any other industry you might be in. If you're a carpenter, you plug your saw in, you need the damn thing to work. If you're a truck driver, you get in your truck, you need the motor to work. You need the damn thing to drive, right? Like, you need, if anytime that your equipment causes you not to be able to do the job, you're missing out. So I just need stuff to be reliable. And the quality in pretty much everything across the board anymore, the quality's gotten so bad, it's just hard to find anything reliable or anything reliable for very long. Warranty times are getting shorter. Products are made to last just beyond the warranty, and then they crap out. And you gotta pretty much just buy a replacement because you can't find anybody, like with these motors, for instance. Sure, you could have them fixed. Who are you gonna find to work on it that's worth a damn? You gonna go to Billy Bob down the road? Hell no, he's unreliable. You go to an authorized motor guide dealer, good luck finding one, and if you do, they're so backed up they can't get to you for months. It's not realistic. So you just have to end up buying a brand new, the whole shebang of whatever tears up, and then you're out all that extra money. That's another reason why I'm not too concerned about spending the extra money for either the Garmin unit or the power pole unit, because when you look at the damn motor guides, by the time, assuming either the Garmin or the power pole motor lasts at least until their warranty ends, it's 3 years for both of those units. Assuming it makes it 3 years and a day to outlast that warranty, well, I would have gone through 2 motor guides in that time. So by the time I buy 2 of them, I've damn near paid the price. And plus, how many remotes have I gone through? If I've gone through a GPS module, you know, like that extra stuff. Hell, I've paid for the price of either the power pole or the Garmin unit. So it's the same money either way, whether you buy 2 cheaper motors or 1 more expensive motor, you're going to spend the same when it's all said and done. You're going to spend the same because it's, and listen, I have no doubt that the Garmin or power pole is probably going to tear up on you too. Regardless of what they claim, it's going to tear up on you too at some point. But I would hope, with both of them having a 3-year warranty, that they would at least last 3 years and a day before they crapped out. And so you're just going to end up, if you're going to have all this crap on your kayak or your boat or your plastic John boat, if that's what you want to call these kayaks that are too damn big these days, if you're going to have all that crap, it's just part of it. It's part of the expense. It's what you're going to deal with. If you don't want to have that hassle, stick with a pedal kayak, because there ain't much can go wrong on them things. I'm always fearful about jinxing myself saying something like this, but I've not had my pedal drive on my Old Town kayak. I've had that thing, I think I got it in summer of 21. So here we are, summer 20. I've had it 3 years now. Not had any issues with it. It still, when I pedal it, it still feels as good as it did the first day I got it. Like, it still feels new. It's got a 5-year warranty on it, which tells me they're built to last at least 5 years and a day. The hull, Old Town makes the best hulls, the kayak hulls. Like, they're super thick. Nobody ever has any issues with cracking, the floor's cracking, nothing like that. They're very thick plastic. They got lifetime warranty on the hull. So a kayak like that, I'm going to get years of use out of that thing. No issues. It's just, you know, if you want the bells and whistles for your own personal enjoyment or a competitive nature, you want to keep up with the Joneses, you got to deal with the hassle that goes with people named Jones. I don't know anybody named Jones, but if I did, I probably wouldn't like them because they're a ton of hassle. And I don't like the trend they've started. But that's kind of what's going on. Boy, I've went on that topic for a long time now. Most of you don't give a damn. I've done Runyons off. But that's kind of the stuff that I've been thinking about lately as far as whittling down options and whatnot. Boy, I've got us way off here. Come on, motor. That's another right there. I'm having a hard time keeping a straight line down through here. I wanted to make one little correction. I ended up pushing this way too far this way. I'd like to be able to push a button, plot that course. Yeah. I would like to see somebody in the tournament scene take a basic kayak, either paddle or pedal, and compete. And, you know, I mean, there's people that do that now, but I'd like for it to be somebody that's maybe got a better than average chance of doing well in a tournament, to do it just to see how it would go. You know, I think if a person, I think a person could do, I think personally and again, I may be overflating myself here. I may be too confident, my head may be too big for its own good here. I think I could keep myself in that upper third. But upper third ain't good enough. You know, I need to be better than that. At least in my own, I don't have to be, but I do have to be. For my own personal happiness, I need to be, I feel like. I at least need to have the option to be. And if I go out there in my pedal kayak and I don't do well, and then I go out in the next tournament and I don't do well, I'm going to be regretting doing that, you know, that decision. And so it goes back to kind of what we talked about first thing today. If you're not willing to see it through, don't start it to begin with. And so if I end up deciding to do it, it's because I'm all in on it. But I just don't know that I'm going to get to that point. You know what else I don't know if I'm going to get to the point of? I've catched another fish today. Man, it's been dead for the last hour. I got to get me another swig of water here. I thought one would be enough. I'm still parched. That sun is baking me. I don't care if it is a dry heat. It's hot. Even I was pointing my camera screen here, try to see the battery life. It says it's overheated. Thankfully, this camera keeps recording when it overheats. It just shuts the screen down. I'm gonna try to hold my hand over here, give it a little shade so I can see where the battery is at here. We gotta be getting close to running out of battery. I think when the battery dies today, I'm gonna just get on out of here. I figured I'd fish for 3, 4, 5 hours today. Get a little morning session in, but with the bite having slacked off and the fact it's so damn hot, I think I'm gonna get out of here soon. I'm losing confidence that we're gonna get any more fish. Definitely we were getting attention on that other side of the channel over there. And I think just from looking on the map, obviously we didn't get up on that flat to see if there's those old creek channels over there, to see if they're actually still there. Some of them, like sometimes you'll be looking at a map and you'll see those old creek channels leading across the flats out, and you'll get up on there and you won't be able to find them. Maybe they're silted in just over time. Maybe they weren't very deep creeks to begin with, and so naturally they're going to silt in. But if you get a creek that was a few feet deep and you can still find that old channel, those spots are money. Man, those catfish will follow those creek beds like a path. They will take them from the deep water up to the shallow water to feed. And so those are great anchoring spots. And so I look for places like that. I like creek mouths anyway, but when I can find creek mouths that aren't really obvious to the naked eye, like if you're on a narrow section of the river and there's a creek feeding in, that's pretty obvious it's creek mouth, right? Those will get a lot more attention from random fishermen because even if they can't read a map, well, they got enough common sense to say, oh, okay, well, a creek's feeding in here. There's bait in that creek. A catfish probably gonna swim in it. Okay, so they're gonna fish that. But when you get out here in these reservoirs where you're middle part of the reservoir or lower end of the reservoir, it's significantly deeper water, and a lot of the creeks are like way far away. Like the openings that would look like a creek mouth to the naked eye is way far away from where that creek mouth actually was back in the day. Those are good place to fish because they don't get hit as hard. Only the people that know how to read a map are going to hit those, and a lot of people just don't like fishing like that. You know me, I'll anchor down on a spot for hours and wait, and I'll go hours without a bite because I know if it's a spot I believe in, I know at some point fish are going to work through. A lot of people don't have the patience to do that. A lot of people would just rather fish like this all the time, where they get out and they drag baits, or they pull planer boards, or they drift if you got current and just cover water. Because you're going to get bit more frequently oftentimes doing what we've done today versus setting and waiting. But you know me, how I like to fish, and so I've got no problem setting and waiting. It's just this time of year, I typically do better being on the move, covering water. I just do better. So that's what I've been wanting to do lately. But once we get on into mid to late September, definitely October, November, I'll be back on the anchor again. Whether it's spot lock in this kayak or a new one, or an actual anchor and rope in my pedal kayak, I'll be back doing that again most of the time, because that's when the spring and the fall especially, really good times to be anchor fishing, both numbers and big fish. It's just the summertime months when they're out here on these ledges and they're on the move, they're chasing bait, it's good to be on the move with them. You're going to be far more likely to run into them, in my opinion. Somebody will probably counter that argument, but that's my opinion, my experience. But give it another month or so, we'll be back on the anchor again. That's why the timing of the Alabama tournament's interesting. Being mid-September there, I feel like it could go either way. I feel like the tournament will probably be won by dragging, because that's what most people will be doing. But I think there could be an anchor bite too, potentially. I think it's possible. I think right now we could throw out a stick of dynamite and not hit a fish right now, man. This is the Dead Sea over here. We had, what, one little tap since we moved over here to this side of the ledge. Now, on downriver from here, that's where I had gotten hooked up in the trot line. I think that was 2 years ago, maybe. I don't remember if that was last year or the year before. So, you know, the commercial guys, I don't think anybody would be meat hunting out here because this water's contaminated. You ain't supposed to eat nothing out of here. They're stupid if they are. So it's probably the pay lakers set that mess out. It wasn't a marked trot line. So it just, you know, people like that, they run them damn trot lines across a big section of the river like this. You can take out a lot of fish in a hurry. But I wanted to come down here today and take this side of the ledge and see what's going on. And I'm going to go out there tomorrow and hopefully catch us some bait. And if I do, and the weather allows the next day, then we'll pick another section of a main channel ledge and we'll go hit it. And we'll just keep covering water, just keep moving. And if I ever do get on a big pile of skipjack, enough where I can get a cooler full, we'll take off down to Alabama and go pre-fish together. Go down there on Wheeler, but I ain't optimistic. It's been such a tough year on skipjack outside of the spring. The spring spawning run easy. The rest of the year been tough. But I think tomorrow I can probably get us some white bass. Who's hollering it? Oh, it's a pontoon boat. I don't know if it's hollering to me or if they just having to talk loud to communicate over the motor noise. It don't seem like the kind of pontoon that's going to be fishing. It seems like more of a pleasure boat kind, so surely they wasn't hollering at me. Coming out here I'm filming this on a Tuesday morning. Ain't it nice? We ain't been pestered today. With the exception of pontoon boat right there and the other boat that went by, we've had the place to ourselves. It's been nice. That's what I love, man. Come out, fish a weekday morning, have the place to yourself. By the time it gets hot, get off the water, and I'm home before the pleasure boaters and jet skiers and all that come out this afternoon. There'll be a bass tournament every one of these ramps about 6 o'clock tonight, probably. These weeknight tournaments they have. we won't be bothered at all. We'll done be long gone. It's me and old Daphne the dog hanging out in the air condition today. Dry heat or not, boy, you need that damn air conditioned day. I know it's only supposed to be 88 for the high, which is down from what it's been lately in the 90s, but when you're out there actually in the sun, the feels like temperature, they call it, the heat index, it's probably up near 100, I'd say. May not be that hot yet, although it feels it. Y'all, I hate that we didn't get more big fish today. We got a couple there decent size. A few other bites, but I think my expectations of coming out here was kind of high. And even yesterday wasn't as good a day as I had hoped, but at least I got numbers of fish yesterday and a couple of decent ones mixed in. Today we just had a few and a couple decent fish. Catching that biggest one though on the spin fishing rig made it worthwhile. And you know, funny thing about that, like yesterday, I'm pretty sure the biggest fish came on the suspend rig. One of the biggest anyway, if not the biggest. And then today our biggest fish come on the suspend rig. It's like the quality is coming suspended, but the bulk of the action is coming on the dragging. That's why, you know, if you have the ability to do it, that's why it's good to do both. Do both at the same time. And that way your bases are kind of covered. Y'all, I think I'm about ready to get out of here. Y'all about ready to call it a day? If not, you better tell these fish to bite soon, because man, I'm hot. We ain't catching. You know what else is weird about this side of the ledge? Since we've got over here, I ain't seeing no bait. You know, that whole other side of the ledge over there, we were seeing bait from 20 feet up down to the bottom. Over here, you just got just a little mark here and there. They just ain't. It's like the bait is all on the other side of the channel. I ain't seen nothing since we got over here. It's just been, it's weird. It's a good thing I went to the other side of the ledge first thing this morning, or we might not have caught a damn thing today. Yeah. Yeah, y'all, I'm going to, my screen still, what the hell's, I hate that I can't even see the battery. The battery's got to be getting close anyway. It normally dies about 4-hour mark, give or take a few minutes. We're probably pretty close to that, but I think I'm going to reel up and get the hell out of here. If I thought we had a reasonable chance of catching another fish, especially a big fish, I'd deal with the heat and keep going with it, but it's gotten so damn hot, and even before we moved over here, the last hour and a half now, bite's been really tough. I mean, we were getting nipped over there constantly with small fish, but we wasn't hooking up. I think our bite fizzled out as that sun got high in the sky. It's a bright day, low humidity, so that in this clear water, that sun's getting down in there, and in my experience, that's not been a good combination. On a bright sunny day, when you got clear water, I think the low light or nighttime is really the best time to be fishing, in my opinion on that. So I think maybe the sun just got up a little too much. I don't know, maybe we just got away from the fish too. You know, maybe we should have went the other direction down there, I don't know. Either way, we had a productive morning overall. We got some fish, we got a couple decent ones. We had us some fun. We had that one snag, cost us a rig, incredibly frustrating when that happens, but for the most part, even the rough area up here was able to pull through it okay. So I'm gonna go home happy today. I hope y'all are going home happy today. Thanks for coming with me. Tomorrow, I'm gonna get out and get us some bait. Try to. I may film it, I may not. We'll see what kind of mood I'm in the morning. So next video may possibly be a bait run. If by chance I don't get any bait, then the next video will be a carp trip, because that's what we'll have to do next if we ain't got no bait. And if I don't film but do get bait, maybe it's the next catfish. So who knows? You come with me fishing next time, it could be anything. You just never know till you show up. Have your ass, first light, be ready to go at the dock when I get out here. We'll fish for something, by gosh. But anyway, y'all, I'm getting out of here. I'm gonna reel up. I'm gonna go to the house. I'll see you next time. Thank you for coming with me today.